I staring at my ceiling like it owed me money. Which, fun fact, it didn't, but my ex-girlfriend sure did. Owed me my whole damn life, actually. Name's Changge. I just woke up in my crappy rental apartment, and the clock says May 1st, 2028. Which is wild, because last thing I remember, I was getting shoved into a zombie horde by my ex's little brother while she watched and cuddled some other dude. Real classy breakup, right? Most people get a text. I got eaten alive. But somehow I'm back. 15 days before a giant space rock, called the Death Star, yeah, real creative name, smashes into Earth and turns everything into a zombie apocalypse buffet. Let me catch you up on my previous life, aka the biggest simp origin story ever told. I had fire powers. Cool ones. A rank. I fought zombies, nearly died about 47 times, and collected rare power crystals like Pokemon cards. And what did I do with all of it? Gave it to my girlfriend's brother. Because she asked nicely. She'd go, "Baby, you love me, right?" And I'd hand over loot that could make me a god. Her brother Liu Chang ate my SSS-rank power fruit, became one of the top 3 fighters in the whole survivor base, and I got stuck at level 7 forever like a free-to-play player who already used all his gift codes. Then one day she invited me outside the base for something important. What was so important? Getting murdered. Her brother and his goon squad pushed me into a zombie swarm and said, "Thanks for everything, simp. Your last job is being bait." I looked back and there she was, my beautiful, treacherous ex, smiling that sweet smile while leaning on another man's chest. A Yelp review of our relationship, 0 stars, would not recommend. But now I'm back, baby. And guess what? My fire powers came with me. Just level 1, basically a lighter, but it's mine and nobody's taking it this time. Oh, and here's the juicy part. Tonight is the night Earth starts dropping magic fruits everywhere as some kind of planetary defense mechanism. They look like normal food, apples, walnuts, whatever, but eat the right one and you get superpowers. They only last 7 hours before vanishing. And I happen to know that tonight, my backstabbing ex is going to stumble onto an SSS-rank spatial power apple. The rarest of the rare. The cheat code of cheat codes. Not this time, sweetheart. That apple's got my name on it. I've got 2 hours and 13 minutes. Clock's ticking. Then my phone buzzes. Speak of the devil, it's her. "Babe, are you sleeping? I'm at a bar with my roommates, and some creepy guy won't leave us alone. Can you come save us?" Oh, I remember this trick. Last time I rushed over there like Prince Charming, got hammered, and somehow ended up almost framed for assault. She was gonna blackmail me into giving all my savings to her brother for a new car. The whole thing was staged. Her and her 2 besties, the evil squad. Lin Shui, the brains, think mean girl with a calculator, and Zhou Ting, the gossip cannon, looks sweet, leaks everything. Last life, I fell for it like an idiot and ended up on my knees begging. This life, I texted back, "On my way, babe." But first I made a little phone call. To a loan shark. Borrowed 200,000 yuan. Last time I borrowed that money and gave it to her brother for his car. This time the money's for me. Apocalypse prep, baby. Shopping spree of the century. 30 minutes later, I walked into that bar with a plastic bag full of cash and a heart full of revenge. There she was, Lu Ruyan, looking absolutely stunning in her little black dress. Legs for days, face like an angel, soul like a parking ticket. She spotted me, and her eyes lit up. Not because she missed me, because she saw the bag shaped like money. "You're here? Sit down, sit down." She grabbed my arm all lovey-dovey and introduced her crew. Lin Shui on the left, fox eyes, already scheming. Zhou Ting on the right, round face, looking harmless, absolutely not harmless. Last time, this trio turned me into a drooling mess on the barroom floor. This time, the drooling mess has a plan. Alright, so picture this. I walked into that bar with 50,000 cash in a plastic bag and a smile so dumb it deserved an Oscar. "Hey everyone. First time meeting you. Didn't know what to bring. So here's a little something." I plopped that bag on the table like it was takeout. Lin Shui ripped it open, saw 50,000 yuan stacked neat as a brick wall, and instantly I went from Li Changge to Gidge. That's Big Brother, in flirty voice, for those keeping score. Zhou Ting jumped on the hype train too. "Oh my god. Rian, your boyfriend is so generous." Meanwhile, Lu Rian looked at me with those soft, melting eyes. The same eyes that watched me get fed to zombies, by the way. and I could read her mind clear as daylight. She wasn't thinking, I love him. She was thinking, the fish bit the hook again. My fists were white-knuckle under the table. But upstairs? Pure idiot smile. Professional grade. Then my fire ability flickered inside me, and I felt something. An energy pulse. Coming from her. The spatial fruit. The SSS rank 1. She already had it. My brain went into overdrive. See, I know how these fruits work. High-level ones take at least 24 hours to fully bond with the host. Before that, the connection is fragile. Breakable. You can actually snatch the fruit away from someone if you, how do I put this delicately, get very, very physically close to them. Yeah, that kind of close. Listen, I'm not proud of the plan. But she literally murdered me in my last life, so my guilt meter was reading 0. Step 1 though, survive the drinking trap. Cheers everyone. Rian always talks about what amazing friends you are. I knocked back my drink like a champ. Then another. Then another. What these 3 scheming angels didn't know. Every drop of alcohol that hit my throat got instantly vaporized by my firepower. Evaporated before it even reached my stomach. I was basically drinking steam. The world's most advanced designated driver trick. Meanwhile, I was playing chess. I pulled out my phone, added Lin Shui and Zhou Ting on WeChat, and then, ding, sent each of them a secret transfer. 10,000 yuan apiece. Little gift. First time meeting. Don't tell Ruyan. She's shy about this stuff. Lin Shui's eyes went wide. Suddenly, I wasn't just Gidge. I was her new favorite human. Zhou Ting got hers too, and the way she looked at me changed from target to destroy to maybe we keep this one alive. 20,000 yuan to flip my enemies. Best investment I ever made. Then Ruyan made her move. Started talking about her precious little brother needing a car, 20-something thousand, because he's got a fancy architect girlfriend now, and appearances matter, and blah blah blah. Last life, I hesitated on this, and that's when she decided to frame me. This time I just smiled and said, sure, I'll definitely help Lu Chang out. Smooth. Agreeable. Giving her nothing to attack. She blinked. Wasn't expecting that. Hours passed. Bottles piled up. I kept drinking like a fish, a fireproof fish, while pouring generously for the ladies. By 1:30 a.m., Lin Shui and Zhou Ting were basically furniture. Face down, drooling, done. Rian was barely hanging on, wobbling in the booth, trying to remember what the plan was. Oh right, get me drunk, stage a fake assault, blackmail me. Small problem. I was stone cold sober after 15 bottles, and she could barely see straight. Changge, how? How are you not drunk? Good tolerance, I said, smiling like a golden retriever. I helped her up and started walking her out. And that's when fate threw me a little bonus. As we passed Lin Shui's slumped body, Rian's drooping eyes caught the glow of Lin Shui's phone screen. Transfer, 10,000 yuan. From Li Changge. I could practically hear her brain short-circuit through the alcohol fog. Why is he giving him Y-friend money? They just met. What's happening? Is he? But the booze was too strong. Her eyelids glued shut before she could process it. Out in the night air, she stirred just enough to mumble. Changge, did you send Lin Shui money? Yep, I said casually. Told her to take good care of you. She went quiet. I could feel her trying to think, trying to find the trap, but her brain was running on dial-up and the alcohol had unplugged the router. So there she was, leaning on my shoulder, the woman who ruined my life, with an SSS-rank superpower fruit sitting half-absorbed inside her like an undigested cheat code. And me? Sober as a monk, fire in my belly, revenge in my heart, and a very specific plan for the rest of this evening. The clock was ticking. Now here's where things got spicy. And by spicy, I mean revenge-flavored. That 10,000 I slipped to Lin Shui? It was never a bribe for loyalty. It was a bomb. I left it right where Ruyan would see it. And sure enough, on the way out, her drunk little eyes caught Lin Shui's phone screen glowing with my transfer. Seed planted. Her own bestie, taking secret cash from her boyfriend? That's gonna rot in her brain for weeks. I just turned her attack dog into a trust issue. Anyway, I got her back to her apartment. She flopped onto the couch like a beautiful, scheming rag doll, and I sat down and did something I couldn't do in my past life. I used my fire ability to scan her. There it was, right in her core. A swirling ball of silver-white light, connected to her by a thin golden thread. The SSS-rank Space Fruit, still bonding, still fragile. Like a package that says, delivered, but the glue hasn't dried yet. She looked up at me with those gorgeous, disgusted eyes. Yeah, disgusted. Even blackout drunk, she couldn't hide it. She hated me. The nice guy act, the puppy eyes, all of it made her skin crawl. In her mind, letting me chase her was charity. I was a walking ATM with legs she found personally offensive. Last life, that would have broken my heart. This life? I almost laughed. All those years I spent wondering, what did I do wrong? Turns out the answer was nothing. She just thought I was trash from day one. Good to know. Really simplifies things. So I spent the next 3 hours, let's call it, aggressively renegotiating the custody of that spatial fruit through a very specific, very physical method that the ancient power system apparently considers a valid transfer protocol. Look, I don't make the rules. The universe decided that's how you break a soul contract. Take it up with the cosmic developers. 3 hours. 3 whole hours of what I can only describe as the most determined performance of my 2 lifetimes. By the end, that golden thread snapped like a cheap shoelace, and the silver-white spatial energy came flooding into my body like it was running from her. Welcome home, little cheat code. Daddy's got plans for you. I stood up, buttoned my shirt, and lit a cigarette with my fingertip, because when you have fire powers, you never use a lighter, it's the law, and blew the smoke right in her face. She started coughing, gagging, screaming. Lee Changge, are you even human? I'll sue you into the ground. You'll rot in prison. A pillow flew at my head. I swatted it away like a mosquito. Then I held up my phone. The screen showed. Well, let's just say I'd been recording. Insurance policy. You've been flirting with that rich kid Lou Fei, right? Imagine if he saw this on certain websites. Your call. Her face went from rage to horror in about half a second. Chef's kiss. I walked out, buttoning my collar, footsteps echoing down the hallway. Lou Rian, I said to the empty corridor, this life. It's your turn to be the blood bag. And just like that, my brain lit up with new abilities. Ability 1, spatial storage. Basically a pocket dimension. An invisible backpack with infinite room. Every doomsday prepper's wet dream. Ability 2, teleportation. Teleportation. I can just blink somewhere else. Do you understand how broken that is? Ability 3, spatial marking. Half unlocked, but still. I can tag locations and people. Plus there's combo potential with my fire powers that I haven't even explored yet. So let's do the math. In one night I dodged a frame-up, stayed sober through 15 bottles of booze, bought 2 spies for 20 grand, planted paranoia in my ex's head, stole the rarest superpower fruit on the entire planet, and walked out with blackmail insurance. Not bad for a dead man's first day back. 14 days until the apocalypse, and I'm just getting started. Alright, so it's past 1 a.m. I just walked out of my ex's apartment with an SSS-rank spatial superpower humming inside me like a stolen engine, and I've got testing to do. I ducked into an empty alley, the kind where stray cats judge you, and focused on my new toy. First up, storage. I picked up half a brick, thought, go away, and poof, gone. Vanished. Like my dignity in my past life. Then I looked inside my mind and nearly fell over. The storage space was a cube. 1,000 meters long, 1,000 meters wide, 1,000 meters tall. That's 1 billion cubic meters. I could fit an IKEA warehouse inside this thing. Multiple IKEAs. The entire IKEA corporation. With room left for the parking lot. The rules are simple. Touch something, think, store, boom, it's in the pocket dimension. Maybe later when I level up, I can grab stuff from a distance. For now, hands-on shopping it is. Next test, teleportation. I stared at the end of the alley, about 20 meters away, and thought, be there. Blink. I was there. I looked back at where I'd been standing and let out a noise that was not manly. 20 meters, instant, no lag. Like real-life, fast travel. I tested it a few more times. Works great, but after 3 or 4 jumps I need to catch my breath. So I can't spam it like a video game glitch. Yet. Third ability, spatial marking. I slapped the alley wall, left an invisible tag, walked 2 blocks away, and could feel it perfectly, southeast, 300 meters. Then I teleported straight back to it. Boom. Right in front of the wall. GPS plus fast travel. This thing is absolutely busted. And here's the crazy part. I have a theory that if I ever find someone with time powers, maybe I could combo the 2 abilities and teleport back to marked locations in the past. Infinite supplies. Infinite do-overs. But that's future me's problem. Present me needs cash. Because here's my shopping list for the apocalypse. Rice, flour, canned food, water, medicine, gasoline, weapons. And I need to buy all of it in 14 days without getting arrested. Robbing a bank would be easy with teleportation, but I don't have time to play tag with the police. Right on cue, my phone rang. Guess who? Lu Chang, Rian's little brother. The guy who literally pushed me into a zombie horde in my last life. Calling me at 2 a.m. I could hear club music blasting, so loud my speaker was vibrating. Li Changge, where are you? Come hang out. I'm at the Golden Crown nightclub, biggest spot in Hangzhou. Come see how the big boys party. Translation, come pay for my party. Last life, this dude lured me to clubs constantly. Every single time. Bro, I forgot my wallet. Cover me. I'll pay you back. Spoiler, he never paid me back. Not once. Not ever. I forgot my card. Excuse was so recycled it should have won an environmental award. But then my brain did something beautiful. It connected 2 dots. Golden Crown nightclub. Top floor. Giant vault. In my past life, after the earthquake hit, this building collapsed. Someone cracked open the ruins and found a massive safe underneath, stuffed with gold bars and cash. Mountains of 100 yuan bills. Nobody took any of it because in zombie world, a bread roll is worth more than a gold brick. But right now, before the apocalypse, that gold is worth billions. And this idiot just invited me to the building where it's sitting. Sure, I said. Be right there. Hurry up. Room 888. You've got 15 minutes. I walked into room 888 20 minutes later. The scene was exactly what you'd expect. Dim lights, expensive bottles everywhere, Ace of Spades, Louis XIII, and a dozen people draped across couches in various states of consciousness. Lu Chang was in the middle, hands all over some girl like he was searching for loose change. The moment he saw me, he shoved her aside and charged over. Finally, sit. He pushed me onto a couch, leaned in close, and whispered the magic words. Don't worry, bro, tonight's on me. Just, could you cover the bill first? I rushed out and forgot my card. I'll pay you back, the same line. Word for word. He didn't even update the script between lifetimes. Incredible. I smiled and said, sure. Hey, isn't your sister trying to set you up with that architect girl, Lin Wei? The one at the fancy firm? What would she think about all this? His face scrunched up immediately. UGH, don't even mention her. So stuck up. I took her to a nice restaurant, and she wouldn't even let me hold her hand. Forget her. She's boring. Then he grabbed the nearest girl like she was a stress ball and waved me off. Go pay already. I told you I forgot my card. I stood up, calm as a Buddhist monk. Sure. Let me hit the bathroom first. The second the door closed behind me, I heard him howling to his buddies. See that? That's my sister's little pet. I tell him to come pay, and he comes running. The whole room burst out laughing. I paused in the hallway, smiled. Laugh it up, buddy. Because while you're in there groping strangers and drinking champagne you can't afford, I'm about to teleport to your building's vault and vacuum up every gold bar and cash stack in it with my brand new billion cubic meter pocket dimension. You invited the fox into the hen house, and the fox has spatial storage. Time to go shopping in someone else's vault without permission. At 2 a.m., I strolled to the elevator, flicked a little fireball at the security camera, rest in peace, little buddy, and hit the button for the top floor. Ding. Floor 18. Fancy hallway. Red carpet, crystal chandeliers, ugly abstract paintings that probably cost more than my apartment. Rich people art, the kind where you stare at it for 10 minutes and still see nothing but an expensive sneeze. I took the fire stairs up to the roof. The building is shaped like a U, nightclub on the left side, vault on the right. The right side has real security, probably armed guards. But the left side? Nobody guards a rooftop. What rich kid is going up there at 2 a.m. to stargaze? Oh wait, this one is. The two sides were about 15 meters apart. My teleport range is 20. Math checks out. Let's fly. Blink. Other rooftop. 2 security cameras staring at me with their little red eyes. 2 tiny fireballs later, they were blind. Sorry boys. Early retirement. Now, the vault door. Reinforced concrete walls, half a meter thick. Alloy door with a fingerprint lock and a code lock. Red light blinking like it was judging me. For a normal person? Impossible. Good thing I stopped being normal about 4 hours ago. I held up one finger and squeezed out the tiniest flame I could manage. Then I compressed it, focused it, pushed all my mental energy into making it hotter and hotter. The color shifted from yellow to white. The air around my fingertip started warping like a desert highway in summer. Sweat was pouring down my face. My power level is still garbage, so this was like bench pressing a truck with one arm. I jabbed my finger forward. The white-hot flame needle punched straight through the alloy lock like a birthday candle through butter. TSSSSS smelled awful. Sounded worse. But it left a finger-sized hole straight through. I peeked inside. Blue emergency lights flickering. Perfect. I teleported through the hole. And then my brain stopped working. Because the floor was made of gold. Not, there's some gold on the floor. The floor was gold. Gold bricks, stacked perfectly, wall to wall, gleaming under my little finger flame like a dragon's bedroom. And the walls? Also not normal walls. They were made of cash. 100 yuan bills, bundled and stacked from floor to ceiling. Red as roses. Red as blood. Red as the color of me becoming stupid rich in the next 10 minutes. In my past life, I walked past these ruins with a scavenger team. The vault was cracked open, gold and cash still sitting there, untouched. Because in zombie world, you can't eat gold and you can't wipe your butt with money. Well, you can, but it's not great. I remember thinking, man, if I could go back in time, and here I am. I cracked my knuckles and got to work. I touched the first wall of cash. Store. Gone. Inside my spatial dimension, a mountain of red bills appeared. Touched the gold bricks. Store. Gone. My pocket dimension was starting to look like Scrooge McDuck's swimming pool. Then the jewelry cases, jade, diamonds, pearls, gemstones, wiped clean with one swipe of my hand like I was clearing a buffet table. Luxury watches on display? Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, Rolex, Omega? Yoink. All mine. Every single one. Antique shelf with porcelain, bronze statues, calligraphy scrolls. Don't know what any of it is. Don't care. It looks expensive. Into the void. Wine wall. An entire cabinet of bottles that could each buy an apartment. Romanée-Conti, Lafite, Margaux, Mouton. I'm not even a wine guy, but congratulations, you now live in my interdimensional garage. I was a human vacuum cleaner. A one-man locust swarm. Everywhere I walked, things stopped existing. 10 minutes. The vault was empty. Nothing left but sad concrete walls wondering what happened to their life savings. But wait, there's more. I spotted a hairline crack in the back wall. A hidden compartment. In my past life, someone had already broken into it. Never found out what was inside. Today I found out. I melted through the wall with another fire needle and stepped into a tiny room. Inside a glass display case, 2 firearms in pristine condition, plus ammo boxes underneath. These are going to be lifesavers in the early days of the apocalypse, when zombies are still weak and everyone else is fighting with kitchen knives and baseball bats. Stored. All of it. Before leaving, I pressed my palm against the vault wall and left a spatial mark. Whoever owns this nightclub clearly has serious connections. Hidden vaults, military hardware, the works. Might need to come back someday. The mark means I can teleport here anytime, from anywhere. I stood in the empty vault, looking around at the bare concrete. 5 minutes ago, this room held enough wealth to buy a small country. Now it held nothing but my footprints and the faint smell of melted metal. Somewhere downstairs, Lu Chang was still groping girls and bragging about how his pet dog came running when called. Meanwhile, the pet dog just robbed the building blind and has a pocket dimension that now contains billions in gold, billions in cash, a jewelry store's worth of gems, a wine collection worth a neighborhood, a watch collection worth a car dealership, antiques worth a museum wing, and 2 very persuasive pieces of hardware. He invited me here to pay for his champagne. I left with the entire building's net worth. Best party ever. Half an hour. That's all it took to empty an entire vault. I teleported back to the rooftop, dusted off my shirt like I'd been on a smoke break, and strolled back down the elevator. Smooth. Casual. Just a guy coming back from the bathroom. Longest bathroom trip in history? Maybe. But nobody at a nightclub at 3 a.m. is checking timestamps. I pushed open the door to room 888. Lu Chang was still there, hands where they shouldn't be, face like he owned the planet. Where were you? I've been waiting to settle the bill. Beautiful. Music to my ears. Let's go, I said. His whole face lit up like a kid on Christmas morning. Christmas where someone else pays for all the presents. He jumped up, yelled to the room, "Keep partying. I'll go handle the check," and threw his arm around my shoulders like we were best friends. In the elevator, he leaned in, whispering, "Just cover it for now. I'll pay you back. You know me. I'm good for it." "Sure you are, buddy. Sure you are." We got to the front desk. Clean-cut kid in a vest behind the counter. Lu Chang flopped onto a bar stool like he was the king of Hangzhou and said, "Room 888. Bill, please." The kid typed for a second, then looked up. "Sir, your total for tonight is 287,600 yuan, nearly 300,000. For one night." This man was drinking champagne like it was tap water using other people's money. Lu Chang didn't even flinch, just tilted his chin at me. "He's paying?" I smiled. A real, genuine, from the bottom of my heart smile. Then I pulled out my wallet, slid a card across the counter, typed in my PIN, and waited. Beep. The counter kid stared at his screen, then stared at me, then opened his mouth like a fish. "Sir." Lu Chang snapped. "What's the problem?" "Card declined." "Use another one." I put the card back in my wallet. Nice and slow. "No need to try another one," I said. "This card has 0 in it." Lu Chang's face froze like someone hit pause on a video. "What?" I patted him on the shoulder. Gently, the same way you pat a dog. "Tonight's on you. You said so yourself." Then, and this was the cherry on top, I leaned in close. "Oh, and tell your sister. I'm dumping her. Starting today, we're done." I paused. Also, she was pretty smooth. His brain needed about 3 full seconds to process that. I was already walking toward the exit when the explosion happened behind me. "What the F? You slept with my sister. Get back here. You owe me at least $1 million. I didn't even turn around. Just walked out the front door into the cool night air, hands in my pockets, king of the world. Behind me, I could hear the chaos unfolding like a beautiful symphony. Lu Chang tried to chase me, but a wall of bouncers blocked him. 300,000 yuan bill, no card, no cash, no sister picking up the phone. Oh yeah, he called Rian. Multiple times. She finally answered. From what I could piece together, the conversation went something like, "Jess, that dog slept with you? Send me 500,000 right now, that I don't have money." "What do you mean? He slept with you and didn't pay? Send me money or I'll tell MOM. Click. She hung up, then turned her phone off. The counter kid, who witnessed this entire circus, looked Lu Chang dead in the eye and said, "No money but acting like a big shot?" Lu Chang tried to grab him. 3 bouncers surrounded him like a human triangle. He deflated instantly. This is the Golden Crown, the most connected nightclub in Hangzhou. Nobody skips out on a tab here. Nobody. I watched from across the street at 4 a.m. as 2 bouncers dragged him back inside. He was still screaming into his phone, something about "sister," "that dog," and words I won't repeat in polite company. I turned off my own phone, looked up at the sky. Can't see any stars, too much city light pollution. But somewhere up there, a rock called the Death Star is hurtling toward us at cosmic speed. 15 days. Let's take inventory of tonight's haul. Billions in gold bars, billions in cash, a jewelry store, a wine cellar, a watch collection, antiques, firearms, and one extremely satisfying revenge on 2 people who killed me in my previous life. Oh, and I dumped my ex, stole her superpower, framed her brother with a 300,000 yuan bar tab, and planted suspicion between her and her best friends. All in one night. Not bad for a guy who was zombie food 12 hours ago. Now, time to go apocalypse shopping. I left Lu Chang to marinate in his 300,000 yuan nightmare and walked 10 minutes down the street to the Hangzhou Intercontinental Hotel. 58 floors of, I deserve this, presidential suite. Tonight, the receptionist did that thing where she scanned me head to toe. White t-shirt, jeans, sneakers, total outfit value maybe $5. And her smile went from genuine to customer service. But I slapped a card on the counter. Beep. 88,888 yuan. Her smile upgraded to first class instantly. What's your surname, sir? Li. As in Li Changge. As in the guy who was homeless zombie food 2 lifetimes ago and is now checking into the penthouse with a pocket dimension full of billions. Life comes at you fast. The suite was enormous. Living room the size of my old apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking all of Hangzhou. Italian leather couch. Fresh flowers. A bathtub you could host a pool party in. I stood at the window, looking down at the city at 4 a.m. Cars crawling like little glowing bugs. West Lake shimmering in the distance. The last quiet nights before everything burns. Then I did something I hadn't done properly in 3 years of apocalypse survival. I took a hot shower. You don't understand. In my past life, water was more expensive than gold. A bottle could buy you. Things I won't get into. Most days we just stood in the rain to wash off, except the rain had zombie poison in it. So that was basically a death shower. I was always filthy, always bleeding, always rotting. Now, hot water, clean skin, no scars, no bite marks, no zombie rot. Something ran down my face that wasn't shower water. I'm not crying. You're crying. Shut up. I collapsed onto the bed, cloud-soft, king-sized, heavenly, and passed out for 5 solid hours. No zombie nightmares. No screaming survivors. Just sleep. Real, deep, beautiful sleep. First time in either lifetime. Woke up naturally at 9 a.m. Bones popped like bubble wrap when I stretched. Felt like a new human. I called room service. Send up breakfast. The most expensive one. Everything. 20 minutes later, a very pretty waitress rolled in a cart loaded with enough food to feed a small village. Bacon, eggs, coffee, the works. She set everything up, then gave me that look, you know the one, and said, if you need anything at all, just call the front desk. She was cute. Great eyes. Definitely flirting. But I've got 14 days to save my own life, so, no thanks. Her face did a tiny glitch, then snapped back to professional. Can't win 'em all, sweetheart. I sat down with my Blue Mountain coffee and crispy bacon, looking out at the morning skyline. Rush hour traffic, office workers scurrying around like ants, sunlight bouncing off skyscrapers. Nobody down there had any idea that in 2 weeks, all of this would be rubble. But me? I had a plan. And a budget. Quick math on last night's haul, roughly $2 billion in cash. Plus gold bars, jewelry, watches, antiques, wine. Total value somewhere around $10 billion. Today's goal, spend $1 billion on apocalypse supplies. 14 days to convert all of it into survival gear. Let's go shopping. First stop, cars. Specifically, apocalypse cars. I took the hotel's black Mercedes to Hangzhou Auto City, the biggest car market in the region, hundreds of thousands of square meters of dealerships and custom shops. But I wasn't there for a BMW or a Lamborghini. You can't outrun zombies in a sports car when the roads are craters. I pulled out my phone and opened a livestream app. There was this account I'd been following. Hangzhou Xiaomei. Hardcore off-road customs. 20-something thousand followers. Bio. The woman who knows off-road vehicles better than anyone in Hangzhou. I clicked into her stream. And there she was, dancing in front of a dark green beast of a truck. Lifted suspension, massive tires, rooftop searchlights. The kind of vehicle that looks like it eats other cars for breakfast. The woman dancing next to it was very much the opposite of the truck. Tiny tank top, short shorts, moves that would make a music video director blush. The contrast was incredible. Monster truck meets dance studio. Doomsday machine meets nightclub energy. But I wasn't here for the dancing. I was here for the truck. Because in about 2 weeks, cute dances won't matter. But a properly armored, off-road beast with a lifted chassis and searchlights? That's going to be worth more than every sports car in this entire city combined. Time to place an order. So I found her live stream, and she was dancing next to a monster truck. The chat was going wild. She's so hot today. I want to be that car. Dude in front of me, you're not okay. Standard internet behavior. I wanted to get her attention fast. Pulled up the gift menu. The big one. Carnival. 3,000 yuan each. I figured I'd send 10. 30 grand. Boom. Instant VIP status. Clicked. Send. Insufficient balance. I stared at my phone like it betrayed me. Then it hit me. I spent 88,000 on the hotel room last night. My bank card was almost empty. All my actual money, the billions, was sitting in my pocket dimension. Can't exactly Venmo someone from an interdimensional warehouse. So I sent one carnival gift. 3,000. Still enough to make the whole stream explode with golden animations and spaceships flying across the screen. The streamer, Xiaomei, froze mid-dance. Thank you, Li. Thank you, Li Ji, for the carnival. Big boss energy. I typed, can we chat privately? Want to get a car customized. Her eyes lit up like I'd proposed marriage. Sure thing. Check your DMs. 2 minutes later, I was walking through Auto City toward her shop. B-Zone, number 18. Couldn't miss it. The same dark green beast from her stream was parked out front like a guard dog. I walked in. Welding sparks, grinding sounds, guys in coveralls doing car surgery. In the back office, Changge was wrapping up her stream. By family, big client just walked in. Love you, stream tonight. She turned around and, okay, I'll be honest, she was even better in person. Short brown hair, sharp eyebrows, big amber eyes. Wearing a black vest over a white tee, short shorts, long legs. She looked like someone who could beat you in arm wrestling and then model for a magazine cover. Confusing, but in a good way. Li Ji? I'm Xiaomei. Real name Zhou Meijia. She stuck out her hand. I shook it. Soft, but with calluses. A woman who actually works with her hands. Respect. She looked me over. White tee, jeans, sneakers, looking like I couldn't afford a bicycle, but kept her poker face. Professional. What kind of build are you thinking? Did you bring a car? No car. Want to buy one, then modify it. Budget? About $3 million for the modifications alone. I could literally see the dollar signs appear in her pupils. She scooted closer to me on the couch. Her knee was practically touching mine. What style? Off-road? Bulletproof? Or maybe, she grinned, that's something with a nice back seat, if you know what I mean. This woman has one joke, and she commits to it. I ignored that and gave her my shopping list. Delivered it flat, like I was ordering lunch, 6-wheel drive if possible. Full bulletproof armor, windows that can stop rifle rounds. Reinforced chassis with ram bars strong enough to flip a dump truck. Fuel tank expanded to at least 300 liters. Puncture-proof tires. Solar panels on the roof. Built-in water tank, storage boxes, medical kit. And rip out the back seats. Replace them with a sleeping area. With every item, her eyes got wider. By the end, she was practically vibrating. Li Ji, are you building a vehicle for the end of the world? Close. So close. You have no idea how close. She showed me some previous builds on her tablet, an armored Mercedes G-Class, a military-grade Dongfeng, a 6-wheel drive Jeep. Legit stuff. She knew her craft. The 6-wheel Jeep, imported, lands at about $1.8 million. Armor plating and bulletproof glass, $800K. Chassis reinforcement and ram bars, $300K. Fuel tank upgrade, $50K. Solar and electrical, $100K. Storage and medical, $50K. Total, she looked up at me. About $3.2 million, fine by me. When you're sitting on $10 billion in stolen vault treasure, 20% over budget is a rounding error. How fast can you build it? She bit her lip. Normally 3 months. But if we go 3 shifts around the clock, 20 days. Absolute minimum, 20 days. The apocalypse is in 15. My face must have done something, because she instantly panicked. 3 million yuan in commission was trying to walk out the door. Li Ji, I really can't go faster. This kind of work, money's not the issue, I said. I'll pay extra. Then I picked up the black backpack I'd brought, unzipped it, and dumped it on her desk. Crash. Bundle after bundle of 100 yuan bills avalanched across her office table. Red bricks of cash, spilling over the edges, some tumbling onto the floor. At least 1 million yuan. Just casually waterfalled onto her desk like I was emptying a bag of chips. The look on her face? Absolutely priceless. And that, unlike the cash, I couldn't store in my pocket dimension. Xiaomei stared at that pile of cash like it had just proposed to her. This is the deposit, I said, calm as a cucumber. Finish in 10 days. I add another 1 million on top. If you can't do it, I stood up and headed for the door. I'll find someone else. She launched off that couch like a rocket, grabbed my arm, and pressed herself against it with the urgency of a woman watching 1 million yuan walk away. 10 days. I'll kill myself doing it, but 10 days. Deal. She was breathing hard. Couldn't tell if it was the money or the adrenaline. Probably both. But Li Ji, what are you actually doing with this car? I looked at her. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. She bit her lip, then said, add me on WeChat. I'll send you daily updates. If you trust me, the car is in my hands. Done. WeChat added. But before leaving, I glanced at her chest area and said with a straight face, I like things with big capacity. Pause. But for you, as long as the work is good, that's fine. Her face went nuclear red. By the time her brain rebooted and she was ready to cuss me out, I was already gone. From behind me, I faintly heard, I'm a C cup. That's not even small. Beautiful. 10 out of 10 interaction. Now, I needed a real vehicle. Not a doomsday tank. That's in 10 days. I needed a work truck. A shopping cart. Something invisible. I walked past every luxury brand in Auto City. Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Ferrari, straight to the most beautiful dealership of all, Wuling Motors. For the uninitiated, the Wuling Hongguang is China's legendary minivan. It costs less than some people's watches. It's ugly. It's slow. It hauls cabbage and construction materials. It has the sex appeal of a cardboard box. And it is the perfect apocalypse vehicle. High clearance, goes anywhere, parts available in every village in China. Any mechanic can fix it blindfolded. And, most importantly, nobody looks twice at it. You roll up in a Lamborghini during the apocalypse, you get robbed. You roll up in a Wuling, people think you're delivering tofu. That one. Full cash. The salesman, a middle-aged dude squatting outside smoking, nearly choked. Don't you want to test drive? I slapped 50,000 cash on the hood. It's a car, not a wife. Wrap it up, he gave me a thumbs up. Couldn't argue with that logic. 30 minutes later, I was cruising through Hangzhou in my silver minivan of destiny. Time to fill it up. And by fill it up, I mean go on the most insane food shopping spree in human history. First stop, Old Hangzhou Noodle House. I sat down and ordered one bowl of beef noodles. Took a bite and almost cried. In my past life, I once found an expired instant ramen packet in some ruins and guarded it like treasure for 2 weeks. Now I'm eating fresh beef noodles with rich broth and tender meat. In a restaurant. Like a person. I put down my chopsticks. Walked to the counter. Beef noodles. 300 servings. The owner blinked. Pork intestine noodles. 300. His mouth opened. Pickled vegetable noodles. 300. His jaw unhinged. Veggie noodles. 300. The man stood up and screamed toward the kitchen. Honey, stop washing dishes. Get out here. His wife ran out. He pointed at my stack of cash with trembling hands. This guy is buying everything. She didn't hesitate. Wiped her hands on her apron and yelled. Fire up all 4 burners. Go, go, go. 40 minutes later, the noodle shop looked like a war zone. 4 pots boiling simultaneously, assembly line production, the whole family sweating bullets. A crowd gathered outside, not to eat, just to watch a lunatic buy 1,200 bowls of noodles. I loaded them into the Wuling. Well, I pretended to load them into the Wuling. Actually teleported everything into my spatial storage. The van was just for show. Then I tested something. Pulled out a noodle box from an hour ago. Still hot. Still bubbling. Steam rising. Time doesn't pass inside the storage space. Do you understand what this means? Hot food stays hot forever. In the apocalypse, when everyone is eating cold canned beans and raw rats, I'll be pulling out fresh steaming beef noodles like I've got a restaurant in my pocket. Because I literally do. The rest of the afternoon was a food tornado across Hangzhou. Victory Cake Shop. 200 servings. The grandma's hand shook so hard, she almost dropped. Her spatula. Scallion pancake guy. I'm buying your entire stand for today. He stared at me, then at the cash, then started flipping pancakes like his life depended on it. 3 hours later, 300 portions. Longjing Tea Pastry Shop. How many fresh ones do you have? About 300 boxes? All of them. Crayfish Restaurant. 3,000 pounds of crayfish. The owner nearly threw his phone. Say that again? I said it again. 3 guys started scrubbing shellfish like Olympic athletes. Barbecue stand next door. 3,000 lamb skewers. 3,000 beef skewers. 3,000 sausages. The grill guy's hands went numb. Then I hit Garbage Street, the legendary college student food alley. Fried chicken, stinky tofu, grilled pig trotters, squid on a stick, octopus balls. I bought everything. Especially stinky tofu. 300 servings. Because here's a pro tip from my past life. Mutant zombies with enhanced smell hate strong odors. Stinky tofu is basically zombie repellent. The nastier it smells, the safer you are. The stinky tofu lady was thrilled. Great taste, young man. Best stinky tofu in all of Hangzhou. Lady, I'm not buying it for the taste. I'm buying it as a biological weapon. By 6 p.m., the sunset was painting everything gold. I leaned against my Wuling and watched the world go by. Couples sharing bubble tea. A kid on his dad's shoulders eating cotton candy. College students arguing about where to drink tonight. 14 days from now, 9 out of 10 of these people would be dead. I looked away. No time for feelings. Still shopping to do. Then my phone buzzed. I pulled it out. 108 unread messages. All from Lu Ruyan. 47 voice messages. Each one maxed out at 60 seconds. And now, a video call request lighting up my screen. I looked at her name flashing on my phone. Didn't answer. Some calls you just let ring. I hit decline on the video call. 3 seconds later, ring. Decline. 3 seconds, ring. Rian was calling me like a telemarketer with abandonment issues. Her profile picture was still that photo. White dress, Westlake, looking back with a smile. Last life I stared at that picture like it was the Mona Lisa. Now it just annoyed me. I let it ring one more time. Then accepted. Her face appeared on screen. And wow. One day without her makeup routine, and she looked like she'd been through a war. Hair everywhere, skin white as paper, dark circles that could scare children, broken nails with what looked like blood underneath. The girl who always looked like she stepped off a magazine cover now looked like she crawled out from under one. Changge, voice like sandpaper in tears. What's up? I said, leaning casually against my beautiful wooling. Why didn't you answer my calls? She tried to start the guilt trip, but the engine was running on empty. Yesterday's manipulation was an act. Today, she was genuinely falling apart. Did you really record something? Tears forming. Please delete it. I'm begging you. Now this was satisfying. Last life, this was the face she used to drain my bank account. Please help Lu Chong. Just 300,000. I'm begging you. Same tears. Same voice. Different direction. I smiled. What video? The one from last night. When you... Oh, I said. You mean the part where you were twisting around begging me? That video, her face went red, then white, then a color that doesn't have a name. You really recorded it. I told her I spent the night at a hotel. Presidential suite. 88 grand. Slept like a baby. Her face crumbled. She expected me to be groveling, apologizing, begging forgiveness like old times. Instead, I got the best sleep of 2 lifetimes. Then she pivoted. Classic Rian move. Tears dry up. Agenda comes out. Your brother ran up a 280,000 yuan tab at Golden Crown last night. He's at the police station now. Changge, please lend me 300,000. I laughed. Out loud. In her face. Through the phone. In the middle of blackmailing me and being blackmailed by me, she still had the audacity to ask for money. The sheer nerve. The talent. This woman could sell ice to penguins. Sure, I said, smile warm as sunshine. But you'll have to come see me at the Cloud Hotel tonight. Her face turned to stone. Li Changge, are you even human? Last night was assault. And now you want more? I'll call the police. I held the phone away from my ear, waited for the screaming to stop, then said calmly, go ahead. You invited me to drink. You brought me to your apartment. And on that recording, you didn't sound like someone who was complaining. Want me to play it back for you? Dead silence. Her face went white as a ghost. What do you even want from me? Funny. Those were my exact last words in my previous life, bleeding out in a zombie horde while she watched. I told you. Come to the hotel tonight. I hung up. Screen went dark. Beautiful. Anyway, back to shopping. I looked at my haul so far. Spent maybe 2 million. Barely made a dent in the cash mountain. At this rate, I couldn't spend even 100 million in 14 days buying street food. I needed to think bigger. I searched my phone. Hangzhou, Huayang cuisine, upscale. Found the top-rated spot, Jiangnan Spring, 3 kilometers away. My Wuling and I were on our way. The restaurant was in a standalone building near Westlake. Red lanterns, old brick walls. Looked like something from a 1920s movie. Inside was warm lighting, ink paintings, sandalwood incense, fancy stuff. And standing at the front desk in a dark green qipao dress was, no way, Lin Shui, my ex-girlfriend's scheming bestie. The one I bribed with 10,000 yuan last night. She worked here? She looked up, saw me, and her face lit up like a Christmas tree. Gidge, that voice could melt steel beams. She grabbed my arm, pressed herself against me, and started walking me inside. What are you doing here? Alone? Or with friends? Did you come to see me? That 10,000 was the gift that kept on giving. Just here to eat, I said. Eating alone at a place this nice? She winked. You must have missed me. Before I could respond, the glass door slammed open behind us. Standing in the doorway, looking like she hadn't slept, eaten, or brushed her hair in 24 hours, was Lu Rian. She'd spent the whole day falling apart. Tried to call the police, picked up the phone, put it down. That recording hanging over her head. Finally, she decided to find her best friend Lin Shui to talk it through. Figure out what happened last night. Ask about that mysterious 10,000 yuan transfer. She walked up to the restaurant, looked through the glass, and saw her best friend hanging on her ex-boyfriend's arm, giggling like they were on a date. The last thread of sanity she'd been holding on all day? Snap. What are you two doing? She charged in and ripped Lin Shui off my arm. And me? I just stood there, watching the fireworks. That 10,000 yuan bomb I planted last night. It just went off. Right on schedule. The bomb went off beautifully. Rian shoved Lin Shui so hard, she almost ate floor. I leave for one day, and you're already all over my boyfriend? I was just greeting a customer. Greeting? Hanging on his arm? Calling him Gidge. Lin Shui's face was still stinging from the slap. Oh yeah, Rian slapped her. Full palm. Sound effect and everything. The whole restaurant heard it. Then Lin Shui exploded. You're insane, Rian. I'm insane? You took 10,000 from him behind my back? He offered it. Not my fault your man likes me. My man? You're supposed to be my friend. Friend? You? The girl who pretends to be innocent but sleeps with. And that's when it became a UFC match. Hair pulling, nail scratching, ripped dresses. Lin Shui's fancy updo collapsed. Her pearl earrings hit the floor. Rian's dress got yanked sideways. The entire restaurant was frozen. Diners holding chopsticks in midair, phones out recording, waiters forming a safety perimeter. And me? I backed up 2 steps, leaned against the bar, crossed my arms. Free entertainment. The manager, a sharp-looking woman in a black suit, surname Tang, broke it up with 2 security guards in one sentence. This is a business. Take your personal drama outside. Rian, panting, pointing at Lin Shui. She's seducing my boyfriend. Lin Shui, hand on her slapped cheek. I was working. Manager Tang ignored both of them and turned to me with a perfectly professional smile. Sir, would you like a table? I can arrange a private room. Smart woman. She knew who was spending money tonight. But Rian blocked my path. Mascara running, dress crooked, full rage mode. You've been hiding all day, ignoring my calls. And now you show up at the most expensive restaurant in Hangzhou to eat? Lin Shui jumped in. Don't let him fool you. Manager Tang. He's a factory worker making 5,000 a month. He lives in a slum. That 10,000 he gave me was probably borrowed from loan sharks. The 2 of them tag-teaming me. Beautiful. I almost felt nostalgic. I looked at Manager Tang. The full menu. Every dish. 100 servings of each. How much? She blinked, did fast math. We have 56 dishes. 100 of each. Comes to about 2.3 million after discount. Rian burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. 2.3 million. Did you hear that? This broke loser can't even. I put my bag on the counter. Heavy thud. Unzipped it. Cash avalanche. Bundle after bundle of fresh 100 yuan bills with bank straps still on. I started stacking. 10 bundles. 20. 30. 3 million yuan. Piled up on the bar like a red brick wall. The restaurant went silent. Like funeral silent. Someone's chopsticks clattered onto a plate. Rian's laugh died on her face like a candle in a hurricane. Lin Shui's mouth opened and closed like a goldfish trying to understand calculus. This is 3 million, I said quietly. 100 servings of everything on the menu. The leftover 700,000 is your tip. I looked at Manager Tang. Enough? She took a deep breath. The professional kind, not the shocked kind, though it was definitely both, and nodded. More than enough, sir. I'll prioritize your order immediately. She turned to her staff. Tell Chef Zhang to pause all other orders. This gentleman's order comes first. Then she personally escorted me to the biggest private room. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a little garden with a fake mountain, bamboo, flowing water. She poured my tea herself, handed me the menu herself, then quietly closed the door. I sat alone at a huge round table, sunset pouring through the windows. My phone buzzed, Xiaomei with build updates. Chassis arrived from Tianjin, workers already on it. I sent her an extra 500,000 for speed. She replied in 0.3 seconds. Money talks. Then the food came. Huayang cuisine, the fancy stuff. Braised lion's head meatballs, squirrel-shaped mandarin fish, silk tofu, eel in sizzling oil. I ate slowly. Every bite. In my past life, I couldn't get a sip of warm soup. Now I had a table full of masterpieces and all the time in the world. Well, 14 days. But tonight? Tonight, I ate like a king. Phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Li Changge, you're dead. You slept with my sister and recorded it? I'm gonna find people to kill you. Lu Chang. Screaming. Again. I hung up. Blocked him. Took another bite of fish. Delicious. Oh, and the best part? While I was enjoying my private dinner, Manager Tang walked to the front entrance where Lin Shui and Rian were still standing, shell-shocked. Lin Shui, you're fired. Lin Shui went white. Manager Tang, what? Your final paycheck will be deposited. Please leave now. A 3 million yuan customer just watched her employee insult him and call him a broke loser. In the restaurant industry, that's not a mistake. That's career suicide. So to recap, my 10,000 yuan investment in Lin Shui caused a catfight that humiliated Rian, destroyed their friendship, and got Lin Shui fired. All while I sat in a private room eating the best meal of either lifetime. Return on investment? Immeasurable. Lin Shui stood there like someone unplugged her brain. Getting fired wasn't just losing a paycheck. That hostess gig was her entire hustle. Fancy restaurant, rich men walking in every night. She'd collected more WeChat contacts than a telemarketer. The Porsche guy, the Rolex guy, the French dinner guy, all met right here at this front desk. And Manager Tang just nuked it all with 2 words. You're fired. No one else in this industry will hire you either, Tang added, walking away. Each click of her heels on the floor sounded like a nail in Lin Shui's coffin. Then Lin Shui turned to Rian. And the friendship? Whatever crumbs were left, burst into flames. This is your fault. My fault? You're the one acting desperate. What followed was the verbal equivalent of 2 cats in a blender. They ripped each other apart with words instead of nails this time. Security was watching. Lin Shui went nuclear. You treat every guy like an ATM. You showed me the chat logs yourself. This idiot sent 500 today, that moron's buying me a gift tomorrow. You think they're boyfriends? They're vending machines. And now your best vending machine ran away, and you blame me. Rian fired back. Oh, you're so clean? That Porsche guy slept with you and blocked you the next day. The Rolex dude ghosted you after 3 dates. They were standing half a meter apart, eyes sharp enough to cut glass, breathing like they'd just run a marathon. Security guards hovering 3 meters away like referees at a boxing match. Then Rian pulled out her phone and called Lu Chang. Li Changge is a Jiangnan Spring restaurant. Get here. Now, oh good. She's calling backup. This should be fun. Meanwhile, Lu Chang had just finished taking out a loan to cover last night's nightclub disaster. He was already having the worst day of his life. Stomping out of the building, he nearly crashed into someone in the elevator. Lin Wei, his arranged marriage prospect. The architect. She was standing there in a blue shirt, black pants, white lab coat, holding architectural blueprints, looking like a woman with an actual career and actual self-respect. Lu Chang puffed up his chest. Oh hey, I'm here visiting a buddy. We're discussing a business investment. Lies. Instant lies. Like breathing. He glanced at her blueprints. Couldn't understand a single line. Drawing pictures, huh? Must be tiring. Only making 7 or 8,000 a month. Once we're married, you can just stay home and, Lu Chang, her voice was flat as a table. I told you last time. We're not compatible. Elevator opened. She walked out. Her colleague blocked Lu Chang from following. Sorry, sir, employees only. Through the closing doors, he saw the brass plaque on the wall. Chinese Academy of Building Sciences, East China Branch. Her colleague whispered, who was that? Friend of yours? Lin Wei didn't even slow down. No idea who that is. Devastation. But Lu Chang didn't have time to process it. He had a beating to deliver. Back at the restaurant, I finished my dinner. Every dish was incredible. Squirrel mandarin fish, lion's head meatballs, silk tofu. I ate it all slowly, savoring every bite like it was my last meal on Earth. Which, technically, it might be in 14 days. Xiaomei texted me progress photos. The truck chassis was assembled. Workers were starting on the armor frame. 8 days to completion. I sent her more money. She replied in milliseconds. That woman runs on cash and caffeine. I wiped my mouth, stood up, and walked out. Manager Tang at the front desk gave me a worried look. Mr. Li, outside there are. I know. Should I call the police? I looked at her. Genuine concern in her eyes. Nice lady. Deserved that 700,000 tip. No need. I pushed open the glass doors. Standing at the bottom of the steps, lit up by neon signs like the world's least impressive gang. 7 or 8 guys with dyed yellow hair, cigarettes dangling from their lips, trying their absolute hardest to look intimidating. Lu Chang's cavalry had arrived. I stood at the top of those steps, looked down at them, and honestly, I almost felt bad. These guys had no idea they were trying to intimidate someone who'd survived 3 years of zombie apocalypse, stolen billions from a vault, and had fire powers and a teleportation ability. This was going to be like sending kittens to fight a dragon. Rian was standing there like she'd just won the lottery, arms crossed, chin up, that smug face cranked to maximum. Changge, you finally came out. She started performing for the crowd. And there was a crowd now, people slowing down, phones coming out, the whole sidewalk turning into a live studio audience. You took out a loan to order all that food, didn't you? Just to show off in front of me? You can't even pay it back. You're nothing. A broke loser pretending to be rich. I looked at her, and I had one single, genuine thought. How did this woman survive to adulthood? Did all the nutrients go to her chest and skip the brain entirely? Changge couldn't wait any longer. He shoved her aside. Sis, shut up, then pointed at me with his whole arm like a villain in a soap opera. Changge, kneel down. Apologize. Pay back the 28,000. Delete my sister's video. And maybe I let you walk. I looked at this clown. This absolute circus performer. Done talking? I asked. He blinked. What? You got a problem? Get him. 7 yellow-haired guys charged at once. First one swung a baton at my head. I stepped sideways. One punch. He flew 3 meters and landed in a trash can. Didn't get up. Fitting. Second guy froze for exactly 1 second. I kicked him in the gut. He dropped to his knees and started dry heaving his dinner. Third, fourth, fifth. I didn't even move my feet. 1 punch each. Assembly line knockout service. 3 seconds. 7 guys on the ground, groaning like a choir of regret. I dusted off my hands. There wasn't actually any dust, but it felt right, and looked at Changge. His jaw was on the floor, literally hanging open. See, in Rian's memory, I was a pushover. A golden retriever in human form. Takes punches, takes insults, never fights back. That was old me. New me survived 3 years of zombie apocalypse hand-to-hand combat. These street punks were basically NPCs on tutorial difficulty. Changge backed into a wall. Nowhere to run. I grabbed his collar with one hand, lifted him off the ground. His feet dangled, face turning purple. Then I started slapping. Slap, 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 slap. 15 slaps. His face went from pretty boy to inflatable pumpkin, symmetrical swelling. Very satisfying. Rian finally unfroze and started hitting my back. Let him go. Let go of Changge. I ignored her. Finished my last slap. Dropped him. He collapsed on the ground, crying, snotting, the full package. Rian rushed over, cradling his face. Baby, are you okay? Does it hurt? And then, this is the beautiful part, Changge shoved her away. Get off me. This is your fault. Rian froze. If you hadn't let him sleep with you, would he dare hit me? It's because you couldn't keep your legs closed. The woman who'd been victimized, humiliated, and blackmailed was now being blamed by her own brother. The brother she sacrificed everything for. The brother she asked me to fund. The brother she literally got me killed for in my past life. Karma is a beautiful thing, and today she was wearing a chef's hat. Rian tried to block me from leaving. Apologized to Changge, or I'll never talk to you again. I actually laughed. A real laugh. She still thought I wanted her attention. Rian, you still haven't figured out what's happening here, have you? She blinked. Behind her, Changge was screaming. I'll kill you someday, Changge. That killed my mood. I walked over, put my foot on his chest, and pressed down. His face went red, then white. I starting to roll back. I was thinking about it. Really thinking about it. Last life. This face smiled while pushing me into a sea of zombies. 1 more pound of pressure and... But no. 13 days until doomsday. Can't spend them hiding from a murder charge. Not worth it. Then, perfect timing, police sirens. A squad car screeched to a stop. Officers poured out. Leading them was a woman. Short hair, sharp eyes. Walked like she could arrest gravity itself. The 7 yellow-haired guys on the ground took one look at her and immediately sat up, crossed their legs, and put their hands on their heads. In unison, like a choreographed dance. They'd clearly done this before. Many times. Holy crap. It's the Lady of Death. Squat down, Zhou Baiwan. Youngest rising star in Hangzhou's police force. Nicknamed the Lady Reaper. Her father ran the entire provincial police department. But she didn't coast on connections. She'd personally beaten down hundreds of gangsters and rich kids. One time a big-shot son from Beijing came to Hangzhou acting tough. She decked him in public. He's still in prison. She looked around the scene. Every single person was squatting or on the ground. Except me. I was still standing with my foot on Lu Chang's chest, calm as a man waiting for a bus. Why aren't you squatting? Her voice could freeze lava. I looked at her face. I knew this woman. In my past life, I'd heard about her, how she died. It was bad. Really bad. Back then I thought, someone that tough, how could she just die like that? Now here she was, alive, standing in front of me, still terrifying. 13 days before everything ends. And the plot just keeps getting thicker. I looked at Officer Zhou Baiwan, aka the Lady Reaper, and smiled. Then slowly lifted my foot off Lu Chang's chest. Officer, I was just defending myself. Lu Chang scrambled up like a cockroach and threw himself at her feet. Officer, he hit me. Look at my face. He pointed at his pumpkin head, crying and snotting everywhere. Arrest him. He's dangerous. She looked down at him. The way you look at gum on your shoe. Then she looked back at me. Is what he said true? I shrugged. 7 guys jumped me outside a restaurant. I defended myself. Is that a problem? Her eyebrow twitched. She stepped closer. I didn't budge. She was trying to intimidate me, and honestly, respect. But I've been chased by level 4 zombies. A stern police lady doesn't really move the needle anymore. We were less than a meter apart. She was staring daggers. I was standing there like I was waiting for coffee. Officer, I said, you keep staring at me like that. People are gonna talk. Her eyes got colder. Didn't think that was possible. She was about to wave her officers to haul everyone in when. Perfect timing. Manager Tang came jogging out of the restaurant, holding a memory card like it was the Olympic torch. Officer, I can testify. This gentleman acted in self-defense. She explained everything. The thugs waited outside for 30 minutes, surrounded me when I came out, attacked first. All captured on security cameras. She handed over the footage. Zhou Baiwan looked at the memory card, looked at Tang, looked at me. I gave her my most innocent face, which, admittedly, probably wasn't very innocent. Then she turned to Lu Chang. You called the police? His tough guy act melted like ice cream in July. Oh, officer, we were just joking around. Joking? That one word in her voice could have frozen the sun. She raised her hand. Simple gesture. Take them all in. Officers moved like clockwork. The yellow-haired guys cooperated perfectly, muscle memory from being arrested so many times. Lu Chang got grabbed by 2 cops. Why are you arresting me? I'm the victim. Look at my face. Nobody cared about his face. Then the cops turned to Rian. Ma'am, you'll need to come too. For the report. Her eyes went wide. Me? I didn't even do anything. All involved parties need to cooperate with the investigation. Handcuffs clicked onto her wrists. She stared down at them like they were alien technology. Never been to a police station in her life. And in her head, I guarantee it, she was thinking, why couldn't Li Changge just give Xiao Chang the money? Why couldn't he just let them beat him up? Why does he keep making things difficult? Because that is how deep the delusion goes. In her world, I exist to be used, and any resistance is me being unreasonable. As they loaded her into the squad car, she looked back at me through the window. Standing under the neon lights, hands in my pockets. Not chasing the car. Not crying. Not begging. I could see it in her eyes. She was searching for the old Li Changge, the one whose eyes lit up when he saw her. The one who'd borrow 200,000 from loan sharks because she pouted. The one who'd kneel and apologize for things he never did. That Li Changge is dead, sweetheart. Zombie food. 3 years ago in a future that hasn't happened yet. The cars pulled away. Crowd dispersed. Manager Tang walked over. Mr. Li, are you all right? I'm fine. Thank you, she smiled, a real one. You spent 3 million at my restaurant. Protecting VIP clients is standard service, smart woman. Then she added, I kept a backup of the security footage, of course. But don't worry, only I can access it. I nodded. Good to have allies who understand leverage. She hesitated, then asked, almost shyly, that woman, your ex? I didn't answer, just smiled. She read everything she needed in that smile, and wisely didn't push further. I walked back to my wooling, sat in the driver's seat, and closed my eyes. Zhou Baiwan's face floated through my mind. That sharp stare. Those knife-edge eyes. That silent warning. Don't let me catch you doing anything stupid. In my past life, I heard what happened to her. Year 3 of the apocalypse. She died. Badly. I remember thinking what a waste it was. Someone that strong, that brave, gone just like that. Now she was alive. Standing tall in her uniform, scaring gangsters with a look, absolutely convinced she was in control of the world. 13 days. In 13 days, zombies crawl out of the earth. Cities become graveyards. Law and order become a memory. And in that world, someone without supernatural powers, no matter how tough, how smart, how fearless, is just a slightly tougher ant. Zhou Baiwan was beautiful, and dangerous, and doomed, unless someone changed the story. I started the engine. The Wuling rolled out of the alley and into the night. 13 days left. Still got a lot of shopping to do. And now I had a new thought bouncing around my head alongside the supply lists and revenge plans. Maybe, this time around, not everyone has to die. May 3rd, 12 days to impact. I woke up, grabbed my phone. Xiaomei, blessed that woman's caffeine-powered soul, had been working through the night. Armor fully welded. Starting interior today. Upgraded fuel tank to 350 liters. 50 more than planned. Extra 3,000. Cool. I typed back. Added. Coming to check in 2 days. She replied with an okay emoji before I could blink. That woman types faster than I teleport. Time to go grocery shopping again. But not the cute street food run from yesterday. Today's mission, the 8 great cuisines of China. All of them. In one day. Stop 1, Northeast Chinese. Guangdong Courtyard, 8 a.m. The cashier lady was cracking sunflower seeds when I walked in. I slapped 10,000 on the counter. Every dish on your menu. 300 of each. Her sunflower seed almost became a choking hazard. You serious? I pulled out another bundle. 20,000 total. That's the deposit. When can you finish? Her personality did a complete 180. Suddenly, I was her favorite person in the universe. She grabbed the phone and started screaming. Old Zhang. Wake up. Big order. A fat chef stumbled in 20 minutes later, still half asleep. Who the hell is calling at? He saw the cash. Silence. Triple wages, I said. Finish today, everyone gets a 2,000 yuan bonus. That man sprinted to the kitchen so fast his apron was flapping like a cape. Wife, get in here. Start the fires. Stop 2, Cantonese. Yu Gang Xian, fancy place, BMWs and Mercedes parked outside. The manager came out in a pressed suit, looked at my outfit, white tee, jeans, sneakers, and his enthusiasm visibly deflated. Then I unzipped the bag. Cash waterfall. Enthusiasm restored. Every dish on the menu. 300 of each. He hesitated. Sir, we have over 100 dishes. We'd need 3 days to prepare. 50% markup. He shook his head. It's not about the money. Double the price. His mouth closed. 3 seconds of soul-searching later, he was on the phone mobilizing 2 other branch locations. We'll have everything by 8 p.m. tonight. On my way out, he asked, Sir, if I may. Is this for a company event? Film crew catering, I said without breaking stride. Ah, of course. You must be the producer. Sure. Whatever helps you sleep at night, buddy. By noon, the news was spreading. I was eating lunch at a Sichuan place in West City and overheard 2 guys at the next table. Bro, did you hear? Someone bought out every dish at Guangdong Courtyard today. 300 of each. No way. What kind of idiot? I mean, tycoon does that? My cousin works there. Said the guy dropped 30,000 cash like it was pocket change. Kitchen still smoking. I slurped my noodles and smiled. The Sichuan restaurant owner was a loud woman in her 50s. Built like a general. Voice like a megaphone. Ma'am, I'd like to place an order. How many? Every dish. 300 each. Her cleaning rag hit the floor. 3-second pause. Then she grabbed my arm with an iron grip. You're the guy? The one who bought out Guangdong Courtyard. Apparently, I was famous now. The mysterious bulk order man of Hangzhou. Urban legend in real time. Her husband, a skinny chef named Old Lu, ran out from the kitchen with a spatula. We've got 100 dishes and 4 cooks. We can't finish before tomorrow. 3,000 yuan bonus per person if you finish today. He vanished back into the kitchen like a magician's trick. Everybody up. No breaks. We're pulling an all-nighter. The wife got her bonus too. She practically carried me to a chair and brought me tea with trembling, grateful hands. May 4th, 11 days left. 2 a.m. I was driving through East City when I spotted a light still on. A little Hunan restaurant called Yu Wei Xian. Should have been closed for hours. I drove past it. Stopped. Backed up. Walked to the door. Locked. But lights on inside. I could see a waiter asleep face down on the counter. I knocked. Nothing. Knocked harder. Nothing. I kicked the door open. Robbery. Robbery. Who's there? The waiter catapulted off his chair like he'd been electrocuted. I walked in, dropped a bundle of cash on the counter. His eyes went from terrified to very interested. Call your boss. Now. The man stared at the cash, then at me, then back at the cash, then grabbed the phone so fast he almost knocked it off the desk. See, this is how it's been going. Day and night, citywide, restaurant by restaurant. I've become an urban myth, the ghost who appears with bags of cash and empties your entire kitchen. Chefs across Hangzhou are either exhausted or thrilled, and most of them are both. My spatial storage now contains enough food to feed a small army for years. All of it frozen in time, hot dishes still steaming, cold dishes still chilled, every flavor perfectly preserved in my billion cubic meter pocket dimension restaurant. While everyone else will be fighting over canned beans in the apocalypse, I'll be pulling out fresh Cantonese dim sum, Sichuan hot pot, and northeastern braised pork like some kind of culinary wizard. 11 days left. The shopping spree continues. The Hunan restaurant owner showed up at 2 a.m. in pajamas, slippers, and hair like he'd been attacked by a tornado. Who kicked my door? He saw the cash. Calmed right down. 300 portions. I nodded. His mouth did the fish thing. Open, close, open, close. At this point I'd seen so many restaurant owners do this I was considering naming it, the 300 face. Brother. It's 2 in the morning. I pulled out another bundle. 2 stacks on the counter now. He made 3 phone calls in 60 seconds flat. Each one more desperate than the last. Oldly, get up. Triple pay. Unintelligible screaming from the other end. I don't care about your problems. Get here. Now. Chef Wang, you asleep? Doesn't matter. Get dressed. Triple wages plus bonus. Xiao Lu. You know the Shandong chef next door? Bring him. Triple pay for everyone. 20 minutes later, 5 chefs and 3 helpers were crammed into that tiny kitchen, banging pots like a percussion orchestra. The owner stood beside me, grinning nervously. Satisfied with the setup, boss? I handed him the warehouse address and walked out. Behind me, the kitchen glowed like a furnace. Money really does make the world spin. Over the next few days, I became a legend. I hit every major cuisine. Shandong, Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Fujian, Hunan, Anhui. If the restaurant had a reputation, I showed up with a bag of cash and the same 3 words. Everything. 300. My excuses got increasingly creative. Company annual party. My boss is marrying his sister-in-law. Film crew wrap party. Fan meetup event. Charity dinner for an elderly home. One owner got suspicious. Bro, what company are you even from? I've never heard of it. I pulled out another stack of cash. Have you heard of it now? He shut up immediately. The Hangzhou food scene started buzzing with rumors about me. The mysterious Wuling millionaire shows up in a minivan that costs less than most people's watches, drops bags of cash, buys everything on the menu, disappears. Probably a secret rich kid, definitely a demolition compensation millionaire. Has to be money laundering. I saw these comments online and laughed. Money laundering? Buddy, my money is way more illegal than that. I literally teleported into a vault and vacuumed it clean with a pocket dimension. To handle all the deliveries, I rented a warehouse in the suburbs, abandoned factory, high walls, big gate, total privacy. Paid 3 months up front. The landlord, a 60-year-old guy, asked what I was doing. Opening a factory. He didn't ask what kind. Cash has a wonderful way of killing curiosity. May 7th. 8 days left. 4 a.m. Biggest wholesale market in Hangzhou. I rolled up in my Wuling like a general arriving at battle. First vegetable stall. How much for the cabbage? $1.50 a pound. I'll take the whole truck. The vendor's brain crashed. I opened my bag. Cash. Red stacks. His brain rebooted. Within 3 hours, the entire market knew about me. Vendors were running toward my van, pushing carts, fighting for my attention. Boss. My radishes. Fresh, boss. Celery. Picked this morning, boss. Potatoes. Look at the quality. I stood in the middle of this vegetable tsunami like the god of commerce, pointing in every direction. All of it. All of it. All of it. Same address. Cash. That afternoon I drove out to the countryside. Found a cabbage field. 20,000 pounds of cabbage, just growing there. Old farmer came out of his greenhouse. Looking for someone? That whole field. I'm buying it. How much? The man nearly swallowed his own tongue. I handed him 30,000 cash. His hand shook so hard I thought he'd drop it. Boss, what are you going to do with all this cabbage? Opening a factory, I said, already back in the wooling. In the rearview mirror, he was standing in his field holding 3 stacks of cash, looking like he'd just met an alien. Every night, I'd return to the warehouse. Mountains of produce piled everywhere. Cabbage hills, radish walls, apple pyramids. I'd close the gate, stand in the middle of it all, and think one thought. Store. Gone. All of it. Sucked into my billion cubic meter pocket dimension like a vacuum cleaner eating dust. Empty concrete. Moonlight. Done. May 8th. 7 days left. Time to upgrade from vegetables. Biggest slaughterhouse in Hangzhou. Dozens of acres. Tens of thousands of animals processed daily. I walked into the office. A bald guy with a gold chain looked up from his phone. What do you want? I unzipped the bag. Cash mountain on his desk. His eyes went wide. Beef, lamb, pork. 100,000 pounds each. He stared at me. Then a grin spread across his face. Brother, are you the 300 guy? My reputation had arrived before I did. I was now a brand. The 300 portions guy? My legend had escaped the restaurant scene and reached the slaughterhouses. I sighed internally. So much for keeping a low profile. Hard to be subtle when you're buying food like you're feeding an army. Which, technically, I am. An army of one. With the world's biggest lunchbox. Various 10,000 pounds each. The bald slaughterhouse boss choked on his own saliva. Brother, that's 300,000 pounds of meat. We process maybe 10,000 animals a day. I looked at him. Can you do it or not? 3 seconds of silence. Then he stood up, marched to the door, and yelled, Old Zhang, get the accountant. 20 minutes later, contract signed. Total, 7.4 million. I looked at the number. Rounded up to 8 million. Need it tomorrow. He blinked. Brother, that's not how rounding usually works. Delivery address. I handed him the warehouse location. His hand trembled, taking the paper. I'll personally escort the trucks. As I walked out, he couldn't help himself. What do you need 300,000 pounds of meat for? I didn't even turn around. I'm opening a zoo. The door closed. I could practically hear his brain short-circuiting. What zoo needs that much meat? One that's entirely tigers? Next stop, the wholesale snack and beverage market. The holy land of junk food. I walked into the first stall. How much spicy strips you got? How many you want? All of them. 3 hours later, the entire market was swarming around me like I was a celebrity. Vendors abandoning their stalls to chase me down aisles. Boss. Import cookies. Boss. Xinjiang nuts. Boss. Instant noodles by the crate. Boss. Iced tea by the pallet. Boss. Sprite, Coke, and Fanta. We sell by the TON. Boss. I'm the regional distributor for Red Bull. Name your number. I stood in the center of this commercial hurricane, pointing in every direction like a traffic cop made of money. All of it. All of it. All of it. Same address. Cash. That evening, Xiaomei texted. Li Ji, the CAR is done. Come test drive tomorrow. The photos made my heart sing. Dark green armored beast, solar panels on top, searchlights mounted, tires the size of barrels. It looked like someone crossed a tank with an SUV and gave it anger issues. I checked my spatial storage. The cash mountain had a visible dent now. 5 billion spent out of 20. 9 days left. Gotta speed up. Now here's where the story gets spicy in a different way. Remember that vault I cleaned out at the Golden Crown nightclub? Turns out it wasn't just some rich guy's piggy bank. It was a secret strategic fund belonging to Japanese corporate interests in China. Decades of carefully accumulated wealth. And I vacuumed it clean in 10 minutes. At that very moment, on the top floor of the Golden Crown, a man named Inoue Danji was standing at a window, staring at a photo of his empty vault. Behind him, 4 men in black suits stood like statues. A young man in traditional clothing knelt on the floor with a report. They'd screened 327 guests from that night. 3 suspicious. Still searching. Inoue's eyes were cold as a snake's belly. Whoever you are, he whispered, I will find you. Good luck with that, buddy. In 9 days your vault, your building, your organization, and possibly you yourself will be zombie food. But sure, keep investigating. Meanwhile, I was lying in my hotel bed scrolling through Rian's messages. 47 of them. A complete emotional roller coaster in text form. 11 p.m. Li Changge, you bastard. If my brother goes to jail, I'll destroy you. 2 a.m. Where are you? Answer your phone. For AM. Please. Just sign one paper. That's all. 7 a.m. Lu Chang might go to detention. He's only 20. A criminal record will ruin his life. 10 a.m. Changge, I was wrong, okay? I'll give you whatever you want. It went. Rage, begging, sob story, rage again, begging again. A perfect cycle, like a washing machine of manipulation. I played her last voice message. Hoarse, exhausted crying. What do I have to do for you to let Xiao Chang go? I typed back. Come to the Cloud Hotel tonight. Then I found a certain video in my photo album. Sent it. Put the phone down. Now, while I was busy becoming the Costco of the apocalypse, Rian had been busy too, finding a new sponsor. She was sitting in a fancy French restaurant by West Lake, dressed to kill. Black business dress, designer stockings, stilettos. The whole weapon system deployed. Across from her sat her Mark, Wu Yuhong, vice president of some big company. 50-ish. Fat belly. Thinning hair. Oily face. Custom Armani suit struggling to contain his gut. Patek Philippe on one wrist. Chunky gold ring on a sausage finger. Miss Lu, what are you thinking about? He asked. And there it was. Rian's playbook, same as always. Lost her current ATM? Find a new one. Preferably old, rich, and stupid. Some people never change. Not even when the world is about to end. Now I wasn't there for this next part, but I know Rian well enough to reconstruct it with forensic accuracy. Because this woman runs the same playbook every single time. While I was buying snacks by the ton, Rian was at the fanciest French restaurant by West Lake, deploying her weapons-grade beauty against a new target. Wu Yuhong, vice president of some big company. 50 years old. Round belly. Thinning hair. Oily everything. The kind of guy whose suit costs more than his morals. Old Wu had one hobby, using business deals as bait to lure young saleswomen. His strategy was pathetically simple. Dangle a fat contract, pour wine, hint that refusing would ruin her career, then steer toward a hotel. He'd done this enough times to fill a spreadsheet. But here's the thing. He thought he was hunting her. Adorable. Rian was playing him like a piano. Sweet smiles, soft voice. Oh, I'm so dizzy, I can't drink anymore. The full damsel routine. She needed money for Lu Chang's situation, and Old Wu had plenty. He was practically drooling, already mentally booking a hotel room. When, who the hell do you think you are? Enter. Lu Fei. Hangzhou's top-tier rich kid. Dad runs the Provincial Business Association. Mom chairs a publicly traded company. This guy's family could buy Wu Yuhong's company as a birthday present. Lu Fei grabbed Old Wu by the collar and launched him into a neighboring table. Plates shattered. Wine splashed. Dignity destroyed. You're trying to take my girlfriend to a hotel? Old Wu scrambled up ready to fight, then recognized who hit him. His rage evaporated faster than alcohol in my stomach. And Mr. Lu. Misunderstanding. Total misunderstanding. Lu Fei slapped him. Kicked him. Slapped him again. Old Wu crawled out of that restaurant like a man escaping a burning building. And Rian? Standing there the whole time with teary eyes, trembling lips, looking like a helpless princess who'd just been rescued from a dragon. Lu Ji. Thank you. I didn't know what to do. Oscar. Worthy. Performance. She wasn't dating Lu Fei. She was farming him. This was the guy I'd mentioned in my threat, the rich second gen she'd been stringing along. And here he was, beating up business executives to protect her honor, completely hypnotized. He tried to put his arm around her waist. She dodged, just barely. I'm a little dizzy. The classic almost touch. Close enough to drive him crazy, far enough to keep him chasing. This woman was running a masterclass in manipulation, and Lu Fei was taking notes with his heart. But then, because this soap opera apparently has layers, the restaurant door burst open again. 8 guys walked in. Leading them was a young man with a face like a storm cloud and a Patek Philippe on his wrist worth 3 million yuan. Zhao Tianhao. Beijing aristocracy. His father was a high-ranking official in the capital. This was the food chain above Lu Fei's food chain. The shark that eats the shark. He'd apparently just gotten out of jail. Officer Zhou Baiwan had arrested him weeks ago for causing trouble in Hangzhou. He was not in a good mood. Lu Fei saw him and transformed instantly. The confident alpha who'd just been slapping around a businessman suddenly straightened up like a soldier, smile switching from, I own this city, to, please don't hurt me. Hao Ji, you're out. I was just about to visit you. Zhao Tianhao looked at him the way you look at a fly. Said nothing. Walked right past him. But as he passed Rian's table, he paused. Just 1 second. Eyes on her. Then kept walking. One of his boys sidled up to Lu Fei with a grin. Hey little Lu, your girlfriend's pretty cute. Pause. How GE's having a party in a couple days. You know what I mean. Lu Fei's back was suddenly drenched in sweat. And that, folks, is the food chain of predators. Old Wu thought he was the hunter. Rian was actually hunting Old Wu. Lu Fei was hunting Rian. And now Zhao Tianhao was circling above all of them like an eagle spotting mice. Everyone's a shark until a bigger shark swims by. Meanwhile, I was in a warehouse at midnight, waving my hand over mountains of snacks and watching them vanish into my pocket dimension. Their world of schemes and power games. 14 days from irrelevant. My world of apocalypse prep? 14 days from being the only thing that matters. Now, I wasn't at that French restaurant, but I eventually pieced together what happened after I sent that text. And honestly, it was like watching a nature documentary where every animal is trying to eat every other animal. Lu Fei, the rich kid who just heroically punched out Old Wu, was standing there thinking he'd won the girl. Then his brain did something ugly. Zhao Tianhao wanted Rian for his party. If Lu Fei didn't act fast, he'd lose her. So this hero walked over to the drink station, pulled out a packet of powder some friend had given him, the kind that knocks people out cold, and stirred it into a glass of water. Prince Charming to Predator in 60 seconds flat. That's the world Rian swims in. Every man around her is some flavor of monster wearing a nice suit. He brought the glass over, smiling warmly. Here, drink some water, sober up. She reached for it, and her phone buzzed. My message. Come to the Cloud Hotel tonight, +1 video attachment. She didn't even open it. She didn't need to. She knew what it was. Her hand started shaking so badly, she almost dropped the glass. The same glass that would have put her lights out. She bolted, mumbled something about her mom being sick, grabbed her purse, and ran out the door in her heels. Lu Fei tried to follow but froze. Zhao Tianhao's lackey was watching from the staircase, and little Lu didn't dare move. He stared at the drugged water glass, then smashed it on the floor. 3 million yuan watch, fancy suit, powerful family. And he still couldn't get what he wanted. Rian ran through the streets, ducked into an alley, leaned against a wall gasping for air. Looked at her phone. My message glowing on the screen. She had 2 choices. Don't come, and that video gets released, destroying everything she'd built with Lu Fei and every other man in her orbit. Come, and face me again. She flagged a taxi. Cloud Hotel. 20 minutes later, she was hammering on my door like she wanted to break it down. I opened it. There she was, hair messy, dress wrinkled, sweating, eyes burning red. Not sad crying red. Furious red. She looked like an angry peacock ready to peck my eyes out. She shoved past me into the room. Li Changge, you've gone too far. Sign the forgiveness letter. Now. Right now. Do you know where Xiao Chang is? Detention. He's 20 years old. A record will ruin him. I leaned against the door. Waited for the storm to pass. Then said, very calmly, his life is ruined. Why should I care? She froze. The old Li Changge would have caved immediately. 1 tear and he'd sign anything. She switched tactics. Went cold. Threatening. If you don't sign, I'll take you to court. I don't care if it destroys my own reputation. I looked at her. Behind the threat, her eyes were screaming something else entirely. Please don't call my bluff. I smiled. Held up my phone. Take me to court? With what evidence? Because I've got evidence of my own. Her face went white as paper. And in that moment, standing in the moonlight pouring through the balcony windows, memories flooded back. Her voice in my past life, sweet as honey. Changge, you love me, don't you? Give the power fruit to Lu Chang. I gave her everything. My power. My future. My life. And she fed me to the zombies. I closed my eyes. Opened them. Ice cold. Rian, you know what I want. I told you to come here, and you came. So let's stop pretending. She stood there in the moonlight, cornered, out of options, out of schemes. For once in her life, she was the one being played. The puppet master had become the puppet. Was I proud of this? Not exactly. But this wasn't about pride. This was about balance. About a debt from a life she doesn't even remember living. Outside the window, the city glittered. 7 days until it all burns. And somewhere on the top floor of the Golden Crown, a Japanese businessman was getting closer to finding out who robbed his vault. The clock keeps ticking. I'll spare you the details of what happened that night. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't heroic. It was ugly revenge wrapped in ugly history, and by 3 a.m., the room was silent except for the sound of someone who'd been completely broken. Ruyan lay there, covered in marks and dried tears, looking like a different person from the polished beauty who'd walked in. And even now, even after all of that, the first words out of her mouth were, "Please, sign the forgiveness letter for Xiao Chong," still thinking about her brother. The brother who pushed me into a zombie horde. The brother who called her names and blamed her for everything. That brother. I stared at her. Something twisted in my chest. Not guilt exactly, but something adjacent to it that I didn't want to examine too closely. By 7 a.m., the morning sun was pouring through the windows like nothing had happened. I signed the forgiveness letter. 3 characters. Done. I walked out. Door closed behind me. She got what she came for. Lu Chong would be released. And me? I stepped into the morning air, breathed in the smell of street food and coffee from someone's balcony, and checked my phone. Xiaomei, Li Ji. Final adjustments today. Pick up this afternoon. The photos showed my beast. Dark green armored Mengsher, solar panels gleaming, searchlights mounted, tires like tank treads. My apocalypse chariot was ready. For days left. But first, real estate shopping. Because I still had billions to spend, and my spatial storage was looking like the world's largest grocery warehouse. Might as well add a house. Now, I wasn't originally planning to buy property. Earthquakes and tsunamis would flatten most buildings. And later in the apocalypse, Earth power users can just grow buildings from the ground like magic mushrooms. But I had cash to burn, and a safe house for the first year wouldn't hurt. A few days was enough time for basic waterproofing and insulation upgrades. I drove my Wuling up to Panshir Manor, the fanciest gated villa community in Hangzhou. Mountain roads, manicured hedges, antique lampposts every 50 meters, mansions peeking through the trees. The security guard looked at my minivan like I'd driven a shopping cart into a Ferrari dealership. "Sir, who are you visiting? Here to view a property." "I have an appointment." He checked his list, let me through, but the look on his face said, "This guy's either lost or insane." Halfway up the hill, a white BMW was parked outside a 3-story villa. Standing next to it was my real estate agent, Zhou Yutong, late 20s, tall, polished, the kind of woman whose smile costs 6% commission. She saw the Wuling pull up and her left eye twitched. Just barely. But she recovered fast, professional to the bone. "Mr. Li, I'm Zhou Yutong, your agent." "Ah, yes." Another person about to learn that the guy in the $5 outfit has more cash than their entire client list combined. This never gets old. The real estate agent scanned my outfit, and I could literally hear her brain categorizing me as waste of time, white tee, jeans, sneakers, total value. One dinner at the restaurant I bought out yesterday. But she kept the professional smile on. Props for that. "This is the crown jewel of Panshir Manor," she said, walking me through. And honestly, the sales pitch was solid. The whole complex was built on bedrock, 32 meters deep into solid rock, military-grade titanium alloy frame, certified to survive magnitude 8 earthquakes. The ocean would have to rise 200 meters to reach the doorstep. Here's the thing she didn't know. I'd been here. In my past life, 3 years into the apocalypse, this neighborhood was one of the few things still standing in all of Hangzhou. Cracked walls, broken windows, but the structure held. Survivors lived here for years off stockpiled supplies. This wasn't just a house. It was a proven apocalypse fortress. She showed me 3 properties. I picked the best one, halfway up the mountain, backed against the hillside, 3 sides with open views, only one road in. 680 square meters with a basement and garage. Then she dropped the number, all casual, clearly expecting me to choke. 108 million yuan. But we have financing options. Or maybe a smaller unit if the budget is tight. I'll take it. She blinked. "I'm sorry, this one. I'm buying it." She looked at my shoes. Looked at my face. Looked at my shoes again. "Sir, the down payment alone is 20 million. I walked to the Wuling. Opened the back door. Her soul left her body. Half the van was stacked floor to ceiling with bundled cash. Red bricks of 100 yuan bills, perfectly organized, glowing in the sunlight like the world's most expensive Tetris game. 5 years of luxury real estate experience. Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, custom suits. And she'd never seen someone pull up in a minivan with 20 million in the trunk. Her entire personality rebooted. The subtle disdain? Gone. replaced by something between awe and, I need to marry this man immediately, Mr. Lee. You are so low-key. She leaned closer. Perfume deployed. Voice dropped to cotton candy mode. Such a big house, all alone. Aren't you scared at night? I live nearby. I could come keep you company. For a chat. I pulled my arm away. No thanks. She wasn't done. I'm really talented, you know. Good at all kinds of things, including my mouth, including helping me carry 20 million in cash inside. That shut her up. Contract signed in 10 minutes. I handed over the money in garbage bags. Actual garbage bags. Full of cash. For a 100 million yuan villa. The contrast was beautiful enough to frame. Then I called for a renovation crew. Foreman's son showed up with 3 guys. Bald, thick-necked, looked like he could bench press the house. I gave him the list. Bulletproof windows, everything lockable from inside. Waterproof insulated roof with a steel mesh layer on top. Basement fully sealed with heavy-duty shelving. Garage door replaced with reinforced rolling shutter. Bulletproof? Steel mesh? He scratched his head. Mr. Lee, it's not like meteorites are falling from the sky. I just looked at him. He stopped talking. Smart man. 3 days. Triple wages. 50,000 deposit. He grabbed that cash like it was oxygen. I'll have people here in 1 hour. At 2 p.m., I pulled up to Xiaomei's shop. And there she was. My baby. My beautiful, terrifying, armored baby. The Mengsher sat in the afternoon sun like a sleeping dragon. Dark green armor plates gleaming. Solar panels fitted perfectly on top like scales. Searchlights big as dinner plates staring forward. Tires thick enough to crush a sedan without noticing. Xiaomei was standing next to it in work pants and a ponytail, grease on her face, grinning ear to ear. Li Ji, come check it out, 4 days until the end of the world. And I just picked up my war machine, bought a mountain fortress, and still had billions left to spend. The Wuling era is over. The tank era begins. I walked around that truck like a kid circling a Christmas present. Xiaomei followed, slapping the chassis like a proud parent. Chassis, original Mengsher 6-wheel drive, reinforced 3 times over. Head-on collision with a dump truck? The dump truck rights a wolf first. She crouched down and pointed underneath. See the steel plate? Not just bulletproof. Mineproof. If someone throws a bomb at you, well, you'll still be annoyed, but you'll be alive and annoyed. She smacked a tire. Military-grade puncture-proof. Nails. They bend. These rims are custom, double the weight capacity of stock. You could fill this thing with gold bars, and it wouldn't even sigh. She popped the hood with a dramatic flourish. The Heart. V8 twin-turbo diesel. Coated in nano-explosive resistant paint. Original. 600 horsepower. I tuned the ECU. Now it's pushing 700. Full tank gets you 800 kilometers. But wait, there's a secondary fuel tank. 350 liters total. 1,500 kilometers on a single fill-up. Your gas tank is bigger than your bathtub, Li Ji. I leaned in. The engine looked like it could power a small warship. Thick pipes, solid construction, built to survive the end of civilization. Which is literally what I needed to do. She climbed up top. Flexible solar panels, fused to the roof. I tried smashing them with a hammer. Hammer lost. These generate 20 kilowatts per day of sunshine. There's even a plug for a portable stove. You can cook hot pot in the wilderness. Inside. Exactly what I ordered. No touchscreen, no backup camera, no luxury nonsense. Just a massive steering wheel, a chunky manual gearbox, and raw power. I grabbed the shift stick. Clack. Metal on metal. Solid as a handshake between 2 mountains. She opened the back. Cargo space fits 2 weeks of supplies. Fold the rear seats flat, and you get a 2 by 1.5 meter sleeping platform. Then she leaned in with that grin. Hidden feature. The fold-out bed is specifically optimized for vigorous recreational activities. This woman has a one-track mind, and I respect the consistency. You think of everything, I said. That's the job. What if Li Ji takes a lady camping? Gotta be prepared. Then she pulled out a little booklet. 5 or 6 pages. Maintenance manual. Everything about this truck, simplified. A complete idiot could fix it with this guide. I flipped through. Engine diagrams, troubleshooting steps, oil change procedures. All hand-drawn, clear as daylight. She'd stripped out all the fancy electronic sensors and replaced everything with simple mechanical parts. Any roadside mechanic with a wrench could fix this beast. Then I noticed the paper felt weird. Thick. Stiff. Special blast-resistant paper, she said, grinning. Fireproof, waterproof, shock-resistant. Can't burn it with a lighter. She held the booklet sideways and scraped it against a wooden crate. Left a scratch mark, sharp enough to cut wood in an emergency. This manual doubles as a knife. 3,800 yuan, by the way. The car breaks down, but this booklet survives. I stared at her. This woman charged me nearly 4 grand for a pamphlet. But honestly, in the apocalypse, an indestructible repair guide that can also be used as a blade? Bargain. I reached into my bag and pulled out 5 gold bars. Finger thick, palm length, gleaming yellow. Dropped them on the table. Bonus. Her eyes went so wide I thought they'd fall out. I asked, this real? She bit one. Tooth marks. Oh my god, elegy. You're my brother for life. I'll build you cars in my next reincarnation. She hugged those gold bars like they were her firstborn children. I left the truck at her shop. My villa garage wasn't ready yet, and drove the Wuling back into the city for one more food run. Fried chicken, burgers, fries, rice noodle soup, spicy hot pot, everything. Cleaned out half a street. Then at 11 p.m., I drove to the edge of the city, down a dirt road, into the woods. 20 minutes of walking through moonlit forest, and then, there it was. Qinglong Lake. It looked small, maybe a quarter the size of Westlake. Silver moonlight rippling across the surface. Peaceful. Quiet. But I knew what was underneath. Westlake averages about 6 feet deep. Tourist puddle. Qinglong Lake. Over 50 meters at its deepest point. Because it's not a natural lake, it's a flooded abandoned mine. Hundreds of meters of tunnels underneath. I stood at the edge, looking at that dark water. In the apocalypse, clean water would become the most valuable resource on Earth. And I was standing on top of what was basically an underground ocean. For days left. Truck ready. House being fortified. Food stockpile could feed a city. Cash reserves still in the billions. And now I'd found my water supply. Things were coming together. Late that night, I stood at the edge of Qinglong Lake, staring at the water. A memory from my past life surfaced. Year 3. A woman. Used to be the most famous actress in the country. Face on every billboard, every movie poster. Was on her knees in the mud at the survivor base, begging a man for a single bottle of water. Offering everything. Because in the apocalypse, clean water was worth more than gold, more than diamonds, more than anything. The meteor's virus would contaminate every open water source on the planet. Regular people who drank it turned into zombies. Powered people who drank it lost their abilities permanently. A bottle of clean water became the most valuable thing on Earth. And I was standing next to 50 meters of untapped fresh water, sitting in a flooded mine shaft. I took off my jacket, took a deep breath, and jumped in. Freezing. But my fire ability kicked in automatically, spreading warmth through my body like an internal heater. Handy. I floated in the dark water, moonlight filtering down through the surface, fish scattering around me. Then I focused on my spatial storage. I'd reserved a special section. 200 million cubic meters of empty space, waiting to be filled. I activated it. Inhale. The water didn't swirl. It just disappeared. Like an invisible god was drinking the lake through a cosmic straw. The water around me vanished in every direction, flooding into my pocket dimension. Inside my storage, an entire ocean materialized out of nothing. Fish and shrimp got swept in too, frozen in time the instant they entered, suspended mid-swim like bugs in amber. Free seafood forever. Nice little bonus. I kept going. 1 minute. 5. 10. 200 million cubic meters. Done. I surfaced, gasping. The lake had visibly dropped by a fifth. Quick math. 200 million cubic meters of clean water. Enough for 100,000 people to drink, cook, and take a weekly shower for 50 years. I climbed out, pulled on my jacket, looked back at the lake. Thanks. Then I vanished into the trees. Next morning. Shopping spree continues. 3 days left. Water purification market. Bought 50 industrial-grade water purifiers. The kind that turns swamp water into drinking water. Reverse osmosis, UV sterilization, the works. Cleared out every shop. For million yuan. The owners gathered outside after I left. Was that guy opening a water plant? He bought 20 of mine. I've got nothing left. Medical supply district. Entire building, nothing but pharmacies. I went store to store like a locust. Antibiotics, all of them. Painkillers, all of them. Wound supplies, all of them. 3 hours later, every pharmacy was stripped bare. 100 boxes of antibiotics, 50 boxes of fever meds, 200 boxes of wound care, 500 first aid kits, vitamins, blood pressure meds, diabetes meds, thermometers, monitoring equipment. 20 million yuan. The pharmacy owners huddled outside in shock. My entire antibiotic shelf is gone. He cleaned out my wound supplies. What is he? Industrial equipment dealer. Run by a grizzled old technician who'd been fixing machines since before I was born. I gave him my list. 50 industrial air conditioners, 50 industrial freezers, 50 industrial heaters, 50 diesel generators, 50 high-capacity batteries. His jaw did the thing. The 300 face. Getting very familiar with that expression. Can you do it? I opened the bag. Cash mountain. I'll make some calls. 2 hours later. Done. Total, 98 million. I rounded up to 100 million because at this point, what's 2 million between friends? Electronics mall. 6 floors of computers and phones. Found the biggest dealer, a chubby guy named Boss Ma. 500 high-end gaming PCs. With monitors, keyboards, and mice. His eyes went supernova. Bro, you opening an internet cafe, something like that? 5 million yuan. Done. Now you might be thinking, gaming PCs? For the apocalypse? But here's the thing. In a world without internet, without entertainment, without hope, a working computer with games on it is worth more than you'd think. Morale matters. Plus, computers can store information, maps, medical databases. Knowledge is survival. Running total for the day, water purifiers, medicine, industrial equipment, computers, roughly 130 million spent. Remaining cash, about 350 million. 3 days left. Still spending. Still stacking. My pocket dimension now contains an ocean of fresh water, frozen fish, enough food to feed an army for decades, billions in gold, weapons, luxury goods, industrial machinery, medical supplies, and 500 gaming rigs. I am the world's most overprepared doomsday survivor, and I'm not even close to done. Oh, and the computers? I wasn't done. Boss Ma thought 500 PCs was the big order. Cute. I also need every popular online game cracked into offline local network versions. His face went pale. Bro, you know I know a hacker. But how do you know I know a hacker? I didn't answer. Just open the bag. Cash speaks every language. 5 million for the game servers and cracking. Then, 1,000 high-end Huawei phones. All popular mobile games converted to local network, plus 100 wireless network hubs that could each cover an entire neighborhood. Boss Ma's hands were literally shaking. Bro, you're building your own country. Close. Very close. Then I hit the clothing market. Every style, every season, men's and women's, measured in tons. Because in the apocalypse, nobody's manufacturing new jeans. That afternoon, Foreman's son called. Villa done. I drove up and walked through my new apocalypse mansion. Bulletproof windows thick as bricks. Air filtration that catches viruses. Climate control that works in any temperature. Real fireplace with firewood stacked and ready. Underfloor heating throughout. A custom bed so big you could land a helicopter on it. I stood on the balcony, night breeze on my face, city lights glittering below. In my past life, I slept in rubble and dreamed about a clean bed. Now I had a fortress on a mountain. Then I sat on the couch, closed my eyes, and looked inside my spatial storage. And for the first time, I saw it all at once. I'd been filling this thing piece by piece for 2 weeks, but I'd never stepped back to see the full picture. Now I did, and honestly, I scared myself. It was a city in there. Cooked food section, all 8 great cuisines of China, tens of thousands of portions, stacked in thermal containers like edible skyscrapers. Fried chicken mountains. Noodle valleys. A crayfish mesa. 3 years of eating without repeating a single meal. Raw meat section. 100,000 pounds each of beef, pork, and lamb. Frozen solid. Next to them, hundreds of thousands of pounds of fish swept up from the lake. Bream, carp, catfish, all frozen mid-swim like little icy statues. Produce section, cabbage mountains, radish walls, apple orchards, all time frozen at peak freshness. Snack section, spicy strips by the tion. Cookies by the crate. Instant noodles by the room. Enough junk food to open 10 convenience stores. Medical section, antibiotics, fever meds, painkillers, wound care, first aid kits, chronic disease meds. A small hospital's worth. Industrial section, 50 air conditioners, 50 freezers, 50 heaters, 50 generators, 50 batteries. Enough to power a small base. Digital section, 500 gaming PCs, 1,000 phones, a server, 100 network hubs. My own private internet. The apocalypse's only land party. Water section, 200 million cubic meters of fresh water floating in the void like a blue jewel. Fish and shrimp suspended inside, frozen in time mid-stroke, like the world's largest aquarium screensaver. Clothing section, 4 seasons of outfits for men and women. Enough fashion to survive doomsday and look good doing it. I opened my eyes and laughed out loud in my empty living room. 14 days ago, I had nothing. Now I had everything. But I was still missing 2 things, grain and fuel. Fuel I wasn't worried about. Stockpiling gasoline before the apocalypse was actually stupid. Takes up space, explodes easily, attracts thieves. In my past life, people died protecting their gas hoards. Not worth it. After doomsday, I'd just drive my armored truck to every abandoned gas station in the region, store the fuel in my time-frozen spatial dimension where it can evaporate or explode, and move on. There were 20 major fuel depots around Hangzhou, plus thousands of gas stations. Nobody would be guarding them. The staff would either have run or turned into zombies. Free gas, infinite storage, zero risk. Grain, though? That was the real endgame. In my past life, I'd seen what grain could do. There was a National Grain Reserve warehouse in Shaoshan, on the outskirts of Hangzhou. When the apocalypse hit, the warehouse manager, just some regular office worker, locked the doors and held the fort with a few co-workers. That one warehouse turned him into a king. He used the grain to recruit survivors, build an army of powered fighters, and grew into one of the top 10 bases in the entire country. Top 10 out of tens of thousands of survivor factions. All because of rice and flour. That's the power of food when civilization falls. And I knew exactly where that warehouse was. 3 days left. Time to go get my grain. 31 hours left. I lay in my fancy new bed staring at the ceiling, running the math one more time. 8 cuisines, tens of thousands of meals, 300,000 pounds of meat, vegetables by the ton, 200 million cubic meters of water, medicine, machines, computers, phones, clothes. Enough to build a small civilization. But I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, zombie hordes, screaming, blood. The greatest hits of my worst life. So at 11:30 p.m., I got dressed and drove to Xiaomei's shop to pick up my truck. She was sitting on the front steps, scrolling her phone, waiting. Saw me and grinned. Picking up this late, the Mengsher sat under the shop lights like a sleeping predator. She'd topped off the tank, calibrated the solar panels, and, of course, added a mattress to the fold-out bed in the back. 2 meters by 1.5. You know what that's for? She winked. I did not dignify this with a response. I climbed in, grabbed the wheel. Heavy, serious, built for war, shifted into gear. Clack. The diesel engine woke up with a low growl that vibrated through my whole body. This wasn't a car. This was an animal. I pulled out onto empty streets at 2 a.m., ran a red light because, honestly, who's going to ticket an armored military vehicle? From up here, regular cars looked like toys. I pushed the accelerator and hit 120 in seconds. In my last life, I drove a rusted pickup truck with no AC and a steering wheel that shook like it was possessed. Zombies chasing me. Engine leaking, praying the tires held. Now, I patted the dashboard. This truck could eat that pickup for breakfast. And then, mid-drive, my heart seized. Not a heart attack. Something deeper. A warning from my spatial power fruit itself. A cold feeling rising from my soul, like ice water in my veins. 2 words crystallized in my mind. Natural enemy. I gripped the wheel tighter. In my past life, there were rumors about this. Top-tier power fruits have built-in rivalries. Fire versus water, light versus dark. The stronger the ability, the stronger the repulsion. 2 tigers can't share one mountain. My SSS-rank Spatial Fruit was screaming that somewhere nearby, its sworn opposite existed. What could be the natural enemy of space? What ability is fundamentally hostile to spatial power? I didn't know, but I could feel the direction, like a compass needle pointing toward danger. I stomped the gas. The Mengsher roared and swung toward downtown, toward the Golden Crown nightclub. Because, of course, it was the Golden Crown. I pulled up near the entrance. The place was packed. Neon lights, crowds of rich people, women in designer dresses, men flashing watches. The usual predator parade. And there, standing in the crowd like a white swan surrounded by peacocks, was Rian. She was wearing a blue-green evening gown, hair pinned up, diamond earrings, looking absolutely stunning and absolutely terrified. Lu Fei stood next to her, fidgeting, angry. He'd brought her here, not for a date. As an offering. Zhao Tianhao's party was tonight. The Beijing prince had noticed her at the restaurant, and what Zhao Tianhao notices, Zhao Tianhao takes. Lu Fei didn't have the spine to refuse. So here he was, delivering the woman he wanted to the man he feared. Even the Golden Crown's general manager, a Japanese man named Fan Jinichiro, was standing outside like a butler, waiting to greet whoever was coming. A man who normally acted like a king, reduced to a doorman. The enemy's signal pulsed stronger. Whatever was triggering my spatial fruit's alarm was here. In this building. Tonight. 29 hours until the apocalypse. And I just drove my armored war truck straight into a hornet's nest. Now, the smart move would be to drive away. Come back after the meteor hits. Let the zombies sort it out. But that cold pulse in my chest kept saying, deal with this now, or it deals with you later. I killed the engine and sat in the dark, watching the Golden Crown's entrance. Something was in there. Something that could threaten me on a cosmic level. And I needed to find out what. I parked my Mengsher in the shadows across the street and watched the circus unfold. The cold pulse in my chest was getting stronger. Whatever my spatial fruit was screaming about, it was coming here. Tonight. At first the scene was standard rich people theater. Lu Fei had brought Rian as a gift for Zhao Tianhao's party, dressed her up in a blue-green gown like wrapping paper on a present. She stood there looking beautiful and terrified, probably calculating how to turn this nightmare into an opportunity. That woman's survival instinct was honestly impressive. Then a convoy of supercars rolled in, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, led by a black Hongqi state limousine with Beijing plates. That's the car equivalent of a diplomatic passport. Zhao Tianhao had arrived. Lu Fei straightened his suit like a trained puppy and started walking toward the convoy. Then the Golden Crown's manager, Fan Jinichiro, got a phone call. Whatever he heard made his face go white as chalk. He started barking into his radio. Clear the entrance. No vehicles allowed in. The Divine Woman arrives in 10 minutes. The Divine Woman is above everything. A wall of black-suited bodyguards materialized and blocked the entire road. Lu Fei's convoy stopped. Zhao Tianhao's Beijing-plated Hongqi also stopped. Nobody was getting in. Lu Fei's face turned purple. He grabbed Fan Jinichiro by the collar. What the hell are you doing? Fan Jinichiro fed him some line about a safety inspection. Lu Fei wasn't buying it, but what could he do? He ran to Zhao Tianhao's car window, bowing so low he could have licked the door handle, explaining the delay. The window cracked open an inch. Silence from inside. Then it rolled back up. Lu Fei stood there drenched in cold sweat. The rich kids from the supercars gathered around, confused and angry. But nobody dared leave. Zhao Tianhao hadn't given permission. 10 minutes crawled by. Then a figure stepped out of the Golden Crown's front door. A man in a traditional kimono and wooden sandals. 50-ish. Stood ramrod straight, staring down the street like he was waiting for royalty. It was the owner, Inoue Danji, the guy whose vault I'd emptied. The most mysterious power broker in Hangzhou. The man who'd been hunting for me for 2 weeks. The rich kids relaxed. Oh, he's coming out to greet Zhao Tianhao. See how much respect the Beijing prince commands. Wrong. So very wrong. A new convoy appeared at the end of the street. Rolls-Royces. Not one. A fleet of them. And leading the formation was a Rolls-Royce white crane, the most exclusive custom model ever built. One of one in the entire world. Price tag, over 1 billion yuan. The car didn't slow down. It drove straight toward the entrance like it owned the building. Because whoever was inside probably did own the building. Inoue and his bodyguards rushed forward like excited puppies, physically shoving Lu Fei's group aside to make room. The rich kids exploded. What the hell? They're blocking us to let them through? Do they even know who's in that Hongqi? But Lu Fei wasn't angry anymore. He was terrified, because he'd just realized something. Whoever was in that Rolls-Royce outranked Zhao Tianhao. And if Zhao Tianhao felt disrespected by being made to wait, the blame would fall on Lu Fei, the Hangzhou host, the guy who organized this. His entire family could be destroyed for this insult. Lu Fei looked at the Hongqi. looked at the Rolls-Royce, made a decision. He jumped into his Porsche, gripped the shaking steering wheel, and floored it straight at the white crane. A billion-yuan Rolls-Royce versus a Porsche driven by a desperate man. His car would crumble like tinfoil. He might die, but if he didn't show Zhao Tianhao that he was willing to fight for him, his whole family was done anyway. People screamed. Women in heels scattered like startled birds. Men dove out of the way, and I sat in my armored truck, watching all of this, while the cold pulse in my chest hammered harder and harder. Whatever was in that Rolls-Royce white crane, whatever divine woman, in no way was bowing to. That was what my spatial fruit was warning me about. My natural enemy had just arrived. 29 hours until the end of the world. And the chessboard just got a whole lot more complicated. From my truck across the street, I watched Liu Fei do the dumbest brave thing I've ever seen. His Porsche launched like a missile straight into the side of that billion-yuan white crane. Bang! Airbags exploded in his face. The Rolls-Royce skidded half a meter sideways, tires screaming against the pavement. The Porsche crumpled like a soda can. Liu Fei crawled out bleeding from his forehead, shaking like a leaf, and looked back at Zhao Tianhao's Hongqi. The window dropped half an inch. A hand came out. Thumbs up. Window closed. The Hongqi turned and drove away into the night. Zhao Tianhao was satisfied. His honor was defended, and he left Liu Fei alone to deal with the consequences. Classic move from someone who treats people like chess pieces. In no way lost his mind. That car belonged to his precious, divine woman. Getting it dented in front of his nightclub was like someone spitting on his emperor's portrait. The empire's dignity. The divine woman's dignity. Trampled by these pigs, he screamed at his bodyguards. Beat them all. Anyone who disrespects the divine woman pays in blood. Those weren't regular bouncers. Those were ex-Japanese special forces. They hit the crowd of rich kids like a tsunami hitting sandcastles. One punch each. These trust fund babies had bodies ruined by years of partying. They went down like bowling pins. Don't hit my face. I'm sorry. I'll pay for. Crunch screaming, begging, bones cracking. Gold watches and designer shoes scattered across the pavement. The women in cocktail dresses stampeded for the doors. Doormen hid behind pillars. Ruyan stood frozen in the middle of it all, trembling in her pretty gown, watching the world she thought she understood crumble around her. Then the white crane's door opened. A red stiletto emerged. Everyone strained to see the divine woman, but the door closed again. Engine started. The damaged Rolls-Royce began to pull away, and the cold pulse in my chest went nuclear. She was in that car. My natural enemy. The thing my spatial fruit feared on a molecular level. And she was about to leave. Not happening. I stomped the accelerator. My Mengshe roared. 700 horsepower of diesel fury launched 5 tons of armored steel straight at that convoy. Xiaomei's voice echoed in my head. Head on with a dump truck? The dump truck cries. This thing's real opponent is a tank. Inoue saw me coming. His eyes went dinner plate wide. Stop him. Stop that truck. Nobody moved. You don't step in front of a charging rhino. 3 Rolls-Royce Phantoms pulled forward to shield the white crane. 3-ton luxury sedans, forming a barricade. Cute. Boom. First Phantom launched into the air like a toy, flipping twice before crashing on the roadside. Boom. Boom. Second and third, same treatment. My Mengshe didn't even slow down. 3-ton Rolls-Royces bounced off my titanium ram bars like shopping carts. Inoue looked like he was watching his entire life collapse. If the divine woman got hurt in China, on his watch, his family would be erased. Not fired. Erased. Names stripped, parents exiled, children disowned. Worse than death. The white crane was right in front of me. 10 meters. 5. 3. I could see the dent Liu Fei's Porsche had left. One more second and my truck would turn that billion-yuan car into modern art. Then everything stopped. Not slowed down, stopped. Stopped. The engine noise vanished. Inoue's screaming vanished. The rich kids crying vanished. The wind vanished. Absolute. Total. Silence. Like someone pressed mute on the entire universe. My truck was still moving forward, but the world around me had gone completely, terrifyingly still. Whatever was in that car, it had just done something that shouldn't be possible. 29 hours until the apocalypse. And I just met something scarier than zombies. Time froze. And I mean that literally. My hands wouldn't move. My feet were locked. The steering wheel was a statue. Even my heartbeat felt like it stopped. Only my eyes still worked, and all they could do was watch that white crane calmly turn around and drive away. I tried activating my powers. Fire? Locked. Teleportation? Locked. My spatial ability had gone into automatic defense mode, like a turtle pulling into its shell. Whatever was in that car had suppressed my SSS-rank powers just by being nearby. The implications hit me like a freight train. In my past life, there were whispers about people called divine descendants, beings who had abilities before the apocalypse even started. Pre-awakened. If this divine woman was one of them, then time snapped back. My truck lurched forward into empty air. The white crane was already 50 meters away, cruising down the main road. Too fast to catch on a straight highway. My armored beast could bulldoze Rolls-Royces, but it couldn't outrun one on flat pavement. I sat gripping the steering wheel, hands trembling. Not from fear. From the sheer shock of meeting something that could shut me down like a light switch. I filed that away under problems for later and focused on what was in front of me, which was total chaos. Smashed Rolls-Royces scattered like broken toys. Rich kids bleeding on the pavement. Bodyguards confused. Inoue standing there soaking wet with fury. I parked the Mengsher and stepped out. Rian saw me and her brain went through about 6 emotions in 2 seconds. Shock, confusion, denial. He must have stolen that truck. A tiny flutter she'd never admit to. Then back to contempt. He probably came to rescue me. Pathetic. I'm Lu Fei's woman now. This loser means nothing. Adorable. Truly adorable. She was standing in a war zone, dressed as a gift for a man who'd abandoned her, surrounded by bleeding rich kids, and still thought she was playing from a position of power. Inoue spotted me and went ballistic. That's the one who almost hit the divine woman's car. Kill him. 8 ex-Japanese Special Forces bodyguards rushed me. First one threw a haymaker at my face. I sidestepped, kneed him in the gut. He dropped like a sack of rice, puking on the pavement. Second one came from the side with a baton. Without looking, I threw an elbow. His jaw dislocated with a crack, and he flew 2 meters. Third, fourth, fifth, I moved through them like a machine. Side kick, knee strike, elbow, chokehold. No fancy moves. Just 3 years of zombie apocalypse, close combat survival applied to humans who were basically standing still by comparison. 10 seconds. 8 bodies on the ground. Groaning, clutching broken arms, unconscious. I dusted off my hands. The remaining bodyguards backed up. Nobody wanted to be number 9. Then Lu Fei, bleeding from his forehead, suit ripped. The guy who'd just crashed his Porsche like a kamikaze pilot, saw me take out 8 Special Forces soldiers and had a brilliant idea. He strutted over, pointed at Inoue, and yelled, "Yeah, that's what you get, you Japanese bastard. I'm gonna destroy your club." Then he turned to me with the condescension of a man who thinks everyone works for him. "Hey you, whose bodyguard are you? Nice work. Now go hold that Japanese guy down so I can slap him personally." I looked at his face. This face. In my past life, this exact face robbed me outside the survivor base, stole my power crystals, mocked me in front of Rian. A simp like you thinks he can compete with me. I didn't say a word. Just walked up and slapped him. Slap. He staggered. What the F, slap? I'm Lu Fei. Do you know who? Slap, 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 slap. Both hands. Full power. Every hit carrying a lifetime of payback. His face inflated like a balloon at a birthday party. Blood at the corners of his mouth. Eyes spinning. Then Ruyan threw herself between us, arms spread wide, shielding Lu Fei like he was the last lifeboat on the Titanic. Li Changge. Enough. This is Fei Ji. Do you know who he is? Don't think driving some stolen truck and pretending to save me means anything. We will never be together. You're nothing. A toad dreaming of swan meat. I looked at her. This gorgeous, stupid, magnificent disaster of a woman. Standing in a torn gown. Defending a man who'd literally brought her here as a human sacrifice, screaming at the only person who'd actually fought for her tonight, while still thinking I was trying to win her back. I laughed. A real, genuine, from-the-soul laugh. Behind her, Lu Fei cowered with hatred in his eyes and zero gratitude. She was his shield, and he didn't even care. Match made in heaven. Then, perfect timing as always, police sirens split the night. A dozen squad cars screamed around the corner, lights blazing. Officers poured out like a SWAT raid. And from a black SUV, one long leg in a police uniform stepped out. Zhou Baiwan. The Lady Reaper. Short hair, razor eyes, scanning the battlefield. Every rich kid on the ground instantly shut up. The ones still conscious tried to make themselves invisible. 29 hours until the world ends. And my dance card for tonight is officially full. Officer Zhou Baiwan walked onto that battlefield like a sword being unsheathed. Police uniform pressed sharp, boots hitting the ground with authority, the kind of woman who makes chaos reorganize itself out of respect. The rich kids saw her and collectively lost their will to live. Oh no, the Lady Reaper. Why is SHE here? We're dead. So dead. These are the same guys who, 5 minutes ago, were crying on the ground from getting beaten by Japanese bodyguards. But Zhou Baiwan scared them more than the Special Forces soldiers. That's her reputation. She surveyed the scene, groaning bodyguards, wrecked Rolls Royces, bleeding trust fund babies, and gave one order. Cuff everyone. Station. Now. Inoue stepped forward, puffing out his chest. Officer, I am a Japanese citizen. You have no authority to. She kicked him square in the chest. He flew, landed on his back, kimono flapping open, dignity scattered across the pavement. She planted her boot on his chest and looked down at him like he was gum on her shoe. Japanese citizen? On Chinese soil, beating Chinese people. Who gave you the guts? The rich kids, who'd been whimpering on the ground moments ago, suddenly found their patriotism. Yeah, get him. Show those bastards whose country this is. One guy with a broken arm was giving a thumbs up with his good hand. Another was bleeding from the mouth and grinning like an idiot. 5 minutes ago, helpless babies. Now, fearless nationalists. Amazing what a woman with a badge can do to a crowd. Zhou Baiwan told them all to shut up. They shut up instantly. Then a young officer walked up to me. You? Hands on your head. Squat. I leaned against my mengsure and smiled. Officer, I'm an innocent bystander. Those Japanese guys attacked me. I defended myself. We'll determine that at the station. Yeah, no. The apocalypse is tomorrow. I'm not spending my last 29 hours of civilization in a holding cell. He reached for me. I sidestepped. He grabbed air. Zhou Baiwan noticed. She turned and marched over, recognition flashing in her eyes. You again? Officer Zhou? Long time no see. You look even better tonight than last time. Her eyes went sub-zero. Stop talking. Hands up. Squat down. I really can't go to the station. I'm busy tomorrow. What's more important than cooperating with police? I thought about it. Then, completely seriously, the end of the world. She stared at me. Then laughed, the angry kind. Fine. I'll escort you personally. She reached for my wrist. I reversed her grip. She went for a knee strike. I dodged. 3 exchanges in 2 seconds. She was fast, all textbook military combat, precise and lethal. Top 5 in her police academy class. Never lost a fight in her career. But I'd spent 3 years fighting mutant zombies that could rip cars in half. Academy moves were like a video tutorial compared to the real thing. She threw a punch. I leaned away, swept at her legs. She jumped, and while she was airborne, I closed the distance, caught her wrist, twisted, and locked her from behind. Done. Immobilized. The Lady Reaper, held in place, unable to move. The entire street went silent. Every rich kid's jaw hit the floor. The Zhou Baiwan, the woman who'd beaten up a Beijing prince. Caught by some random dude in a white t-shirt. She struggled. I was too strong. She was furious. And also, I could tell, genuinely shocked. Nobody had ever done this to her. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, Officer Zhou, I really was just here to watch the show. Let me go. I grinned. Couldn't resist. You know, you're really pretty. If the world ends in a couple days, what are you gonna do? What are you talking about? I'm saying, in a few days, if you treat me nice, I might share a pack of instant noodles with you. Dead silence. Her brain rebooted. Processed the words. Realized that she, daughter of the provincial police chief, terror of the Hangzhou underworld, the woman even Beijing feared, had just been valued at 1 pack of instant noodles. Li Chong, Ji. Her scream echoed across the entire neighborhood. I let go and stepped back. She spun around ready to destroy me, but 3 officers grabbed her. Captain, calm down. You can't beat him. One young cop whispered it from behind her, and honestly, bravest man on that street tonight. She stood there, shaking with rage, hair messed up, face red, looking absolutely murderous. And me? I was already climbing back into my mengsure, grinning like an idiot. 1 pack of noodles. In about 29 hours, she'd understand exactly what that joke meant. Because in the apocalypse, a single pack of instant ramen would be worth more than her badge, her title, and her father's entire career combined. But for now, I just made the most dangerous woman in Hangzhou want to personally end me. Added to the list. Zhou Baiwan wasn't finished with me. Not even close. She threw another punch, fast, vicious, aiming right for my face. I dodged and sighed internally. This woman had the stubbornness of a bulldog crossed with a nuclear reactor. She kept coming. Fists, elbows, knees, full berserker mode, no longer caring about technique, just pure rage-fueled aggression. Her officers wanted to help, but couldn't get close without catching a stray elbow. I caught her off guard again and restrained her from behind. Officers surrounded us. Tension at maximum. She was struggling like a trapped wildcat, eyes burning red, lip nearly bitten through. I was about to say something, probably something stupid, when I felt it. The air changed. It got heavy, like the atmosphere itself was pressing down, a thickness you could almost taste. Then the dogs started howling. Every dog in the city, all at once, screaming into the night like they could feel what was coming. Then wolves. In the middle of Hangzhou. Where did wolves even come from? I looked up. Zhou Baiwan stopped struggling. Everyone stopped everything. The sky was turning red. Not sunset red. Wrong red. The clouds were churning, twisting into a massive spiral, like the sky was being stirred by God's finger. Then a light split the darkness. A meteor. Burning. Enormous. So big you could see its shape with naked eyes. A blazing eye of death, trailing a tail of fire across the entire sky, plummeting toward the horizon. My blood went cold. I knew this sight. I'd seen it before. In my first life. But the timing was wrong. I had 28 hours left. The calculations, the dates, everything I'd planned around. It was early. 28 hours early. The sky burned orange and red. The meteor vanished below the horizon, Pacific Ocean direction. Then the ground moved. Not a tremor, not a shake. The earth screamed. The kind of earthquake that doesn't just knock things over. It tears the world apart. Car alarms exploded across the city in a symphony of panic. Distant thunder that wasn't thunder. Buildings collapsing, bridges snapping, the city groaning like a dying animal. Every phone on that street buzzed simultaneously. The same alert. Red alert. Meteorite impact in Pacific Ocean. Mega tsunami and chain earthquakes triggered. Estimated coastal arrival, 3 hours. All residents evacuate to high ground immediately. Below that, the news feed was a horror movie scrolling in real time. Pacific Ring of Fire, full volcanic eruption. Japan mainland, magnitude 9.8 earthquake. Hawaii, consumed by tsunami. West Coast USA, state of emergency. Each headline worse than the last. Zhou Baiwan stood there, phone in her hand, face draining of color. She'd forgotten she was angry. Forgotten I existed. Forgotten everything except those words on her screen. This is, I let her go. She stumbled forward, turned around, looked at me. And here's the thing. Everyone around us was panicking. Rich kids screaming and running. Officers frozen with their phones. Rian crouched on the ground sobbing. Lu Fei clutching his swollen head and cursing. Inoue retreating into his building with his bodyguards. But me? I was calm. Not because I'm brave. Because I'd already lived through this once. Because I'd spent 15 days preparing for exactly this moment. Because my pocket dimension contained enough food, water, medicine, and supplies for 100,000 people for 50 years. I looked at that burning sky, and I felt something complicated. Like greeting an old enemy you'd been expecting. Officer Zhou, I said, voice steady as stone. The apocalypse is here. She stared at me. Mouth open. No words. I turned, climbed into my Mengshi, fired up the engine. She ran to my window, banging on the glass. Li Changge, where are you going? Everyone needs to evacuate to the nearest shelter. I looked at her one last time through the window. Officer Zhou, I told you. A pack of instant noodles for your life. That offer still stands. Her hand froze in midair. I keep my promises. I hit the gas. The Mengshi roared into the night, plowing through the panicking crowds, into the crumbling city, into the world that was ending 28 hours ahead of schedule. In my rearview mirror, Zhou Baiwan stood in the middle of the street, illuminated by the red sky, watching me disappear. She didn't know it yet. But that pack of noodles? In about 3 hours, it would be worth more than everything she'd ever owned. The apocalypse was here, and I was the most prepared man on Earth. Zhou Baiwan didn't waste time being confused. She snapped back to cop mode, barking orders at her frozen officers. Evacuate everyone. Find the nearest underground shelter. Move. Meanwhile, I was white-knuckling my steering wheel as the world came apart. The ground was bucking like a mechanical bull on maximum speed. My 5-ton armored truck, the vehicle that ate Rolls-Royces for breakfast, was bouncing around like a rubber duck in a washing machine. In front of me, a 30-story building just folded, snapped in half at the middle like a breadstick. The top half tilted, hung in the air for one horrible second, then crashed down. A mushroom cloud of dust and debris rose 50 meters high. I could see people in the windows, waving, falling, screaming, and then the dust swallowed everything. Roads split open like zipper seams. Asphalt peeled back, exposing shattered pipes underneath. Bridges collapsed in the distance, steel and concrete tumbling into rivers like toys. The city was dying. A massive crack opened right across my path. I slammed the brakes. The Mengsher skidded, stopping inches from the edge of a bottomless crevice. No way through. My brain kicked into overdrive. I needed a building that could survive what was coming, and I knew exactly which one. Hangzhou National Trade Building. 30 floors. In my past life, it was one of the only structures left standing after the earthquake and the tsunami. It eventually became the biggest survivor base in the city. Built like a fortress, I yanked the wheel. The Mengsher drifted. Yes, I drifted a 5-ton military truck, and yes, it was as cool as it sounds, and aimed for the trade building. A collapsed wall blocked the road. I floored it. The truck smashed through like it was made of crackers. Bricks bounced off the armor plating like popcorn. A sinkhole appeared. I swerved, half the truck hanging over empty air for a terrifying second. Then the tires caught, and we were through. Then, boulders. Massive rocks that had rolled down from a nearby hillside, each one weighing several tons. Even my beast couldn't push through that. I jumped out, stood in front of the rock pile, reached deep into my fire ability. A fireball formed in my palm, not the little candle flame I'd been playing with. This was compressed, concentrated fury, the color shifting from red to orange to white to nearly transparent. The air around my hand warped from the heat. I aimed at the rocks and pushed. The fireball screamed across 30 meters and detonated. Boom. Boulders exploded into gravel. A crater the size of a swimming pool opened in the rock pile. Dust shot 50 meters into the sky. I dove back into the Mengsher, floored it through the gap, burst out the other side, and there it was. 300 meters ahead. Hangzhou National Trade Building. I parked, stored the truck in my spatial dimension. Can't leave a armored vehicle sitting outside during a tsunami, and looked around. Almost nobody here. Everyone had run away from tall buildings, toward open ground. They were all going to die, because after the earthquake comes the wave. My phone buzzed. National Disaster Alert. Extinction level tsunami arriving in 90 minutes. Initial wave height exceeds 1,000 meters. All residents evacuate to high ground immediately. Repeat. Wave height exceeds 1,000 meters. 1,000 meters. By the time it reached an inland city like Hangzhou, it'd still be 70 or 80 meters high. The trade building was 90 meters tall, just barely enough. All those people who ran to parks and open plazas, the water would swallow them whole. I sprinted into the building. The lobby was trashed, chandelier on the floor, marble walls cracked, elevator doors twisted like tinfoil. Emergency lights flickering pale white in the stairwell. From outside came a sound that wasn't thunder. A deep, rhythmic booming, like the heartbeat of something impossibly huge. The sound of a wall of ocean compressing the atmosphere as it rushed toward land. Death's drumroll. I started climbing stairs. 30 floors between me and survival. The clock was ticking, and this time, it wasn't counting down to the apocalypse. The apocalypse was already here. Now it was counting down to the wave. I climbed 28 floors on pure adrenaline and leg power. Even with abilities enhancing my body, my thighs were screaming by floor 20. I pushed through the fire door and looked out the hallway window. Hangzhou was gone. Not damaged. Not hurt. Gone. Skyscrapers snapped in half like chopsticks. Their upper halves crashed into neighboring buildings. Fire danced through the rubble. Smoke mixed with the blood-red sky into something that looked like the entrance to hell. And in the distance, toward the ocean, a thin white line, stretching across the entire horizon, creeping closer. The tsunami's leading edge, swallowing everything in its path. I turned away. Not much time. The 28th floor was dark, emergency power barely enough to see your feet. I moved quietly. In the apocalypse, noise gets you killed. Then I stopped. Too quiet. Not the natural silence of an empty building. The silence of someone hiding. Someone holding their breath, trying to make their heartbeat invisible. I scanned the offices. Broken glass, overturned desks, computers on the floor. One door was open, and inside, in the deepest corner, a shadow. I crept closer. The door had a brass plaque, Chinese Academy of Building Sciences, East China Branch. Wait, I'd seen that name before. Inside the records room, a woman was curled up against the wall, barricaded behind a stack of thick architecture textbooks, positioned perfectly to protect her head and chest. Professional survival posture. This wasn't someone panicking randomly. This was someone who understood structural protection. Light blue shirt, white lab coat, low ponytail, glasses slightly crooked. And in her shaking right hand, an architectural utility knife. The kind used for precision drawing, thin blade, very sharp. She was terrified, but the knife was pointed at me. We stared at each other for 10 seconds. 20. A full 2 minutes of silent standoff. Then, gurgle. The loudest stomach growl I've ever heard. In the dead silence of a collapsing world, her belly announced itself like a foghorn. Her face went crimson. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Hungry, the knife drooped slightly. Not from trust, from pure embarrassment. I stayed where I was, reached into my bag, pulled out a pack of compressed biscuits from my spatial storage, and tossed them to her feet. She looked down at the package, looked up at me, didn't move. Eat, I said. Then show me somewhere safe. You work here, right? You know this building. Earthquake's done, but the tsunami's coming. Where's the safest spot? Her eyes went wide. How do you know there's a tsunami? Saw it. How did you get up here? Stairs. Why do you have survival biscuits in your bag? You ask a lot of questions. She went quiet. Studied me for a long moment. Then put down the knife, picked up the biscuits, and took a bite. Chewed slowly, letting it dissolve. She'd been working overtime since last night. Hadn't eaten in over 15 hours. 3 bites in, the professional switched on. Floor 28, middle section. There's a partition room I designed myself. She pushed up her glasses. Habit, apparently unbreakable even during the apocalypse. It sits directly on the building's main load-bearing axis. All 4 walls are reinforced concrete shear walls. Highest grade waterproofing. Sealed tight. If the tsunami really comes. That's the safest place in this building. I looked at her. This woman had just eaten 3 bites of biscuit and immediately started delivering a structural engineering lecture, while the world was ending. With dust in her hair and a utility knife at her feet. What's your name? I asked. 1 second pause. Linwei. Something pinged in my memory. I'd heard that name before. But where? 3 years of apocalypse, thousands of names, most of them belonging to people who didn't make it. I couldn't place it. Changge, I said. She nodded. Stood up. Legs wobbly, steadied herself against the wall. Then she carefully tucked the unfinished biscuit pack into her lab coat pocket, right next to her perfectly arranged red, blue, and black pens. Priorities, building integrity data, and snacks. My kind of person. Follow me, she said. She led me through the wrecked office floor to a fire door that was nearly invisible, blended right into the wall. Inside, a tiny 2-square-meter room. For concrete walls, no windows, ventilation ports, waterproof floor coating, sealant around every edge. A concrete bunker hidden inside an office building. Designed by the woman standing next to me. I looked around and nodded. This would work. Outside, through the distant rumble, I could hear it. A deep, rhythmic boom, 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 getting louder. Not thunder. The sound of billions of tons of ocean compressing the air as it rushed toward us. Linwei heard it too. Her face tightened, but she didn't panic. She just pushed her glasses up again and said, very quietly, "We should close the door. I like this woman already." "Not bad," I said, looking around the tiny concrete box. Linwei's mouth twitched, the tiniest smile. A professional who just got her work validated, even during the apocalypse. "Of course it's not bad," she said, with a hint of pride she probably didn't realize she was showing. "Unless this entire building collapses, this is the safest corner in Hangzhou." Then, still chewing on dry biscuit, she launched into a full engineering lecture. The building's seismic rating. The 32-meter deep foundation anchored into bedrock. Military-grade steel frame. Passed a simulated magnitude 9 earthquake test without flinching. And then, I also worked on Pancher Manor. My eyebrow went up. The villa complex I just bought. The geology there was tricky. Hillside, landslide risk. But the developer invested properly. 32-meter foundations, titanium alloy frame. I did the settlement monitoring last year. She trailed off because she noticed me looking at her differently. Not in that way. I just found a diamond in a pile of rubble way. Because in the apocalypse, what's the most valuable thing? Food? Weapons? Powers? No. People. Specifically, people who can build things. An architect who understands structural engineering, seismic resistance, waterproofing, and fortification design, worth more than 100 fighters. When it comes time to build a base, this woman would be irreplaceable. She started choking on dry biscuit. Coughing, face going red, eyes watering. I pulled a water bottle from my bag and handed it over. She chugged half of it, gasped, wiped her mouth, and whispered, "Thanks." Then I took the bottle back and drank from it too. She froze, stared at the bottle, stared at me. Her mouth opened and closed, but nothing came out. We'd just shared a drink, and she didn't know how to process that information while the world was ending. The room was 2 square meters. We sat across from each other, knees almost touching, dim light from the ventilation ports. She fidgeted with her pens, red, blue, black, still perfectly organized in her pocket. Touched the half-eaten biscuit pack. Tried very hard not to look at me. Failed. I caught her peeking. "What are you looking at?" Her face went tomato red. "And nothing. Just thinking about the tsunami you mentioned." "Sure you were." I'll admit, in the dim light, she was prettier than I'd first thought. Not the flashy, weaponized beauty of someone like Rian. More like a quiet painting you keep noticing new details in. Smart eyes behind dusty glasses. A face that got more interesting the longer you looked. Then boom. The entire building lurched sideways. Lin Wei lost her balance completely and pitched forward. She screamed, eyes shut, hands grabbing at air, and landed right on me. My arms locked around her waist automatically. Her arms clamped around my neck. Her legs, and I'm not sure she was aware of this, wrapped around me like she was trying to become a backpack. Boom. Closer this time. The sound of ocean slamming into concrete. The whole tower groaned. A deep, terrible sound, like the building itself was in pain. Water. Hitting us. The tsunami had arrived. Lin Wei buried her face in my chest, shaking violently. "Don't let go. Please don't let go." Her voice was muffled against my shirt, cracking with tears. I didn't let go. One arm around her, one hand braced against the wall, both feet planted on the floor, holding us steady while the world tried to shake itself apart. The concrete walls around us creaked and groaned. Each wave impact felt like a giant punching the building. Water roared somewhere below us, floors being swallowed, one by one. But the walls held. Lin Wei's room held. Her design held. Somewhere between the terror and the noise, I found myself thinking, this woman built a bunker inside an office building, survived an earthquake using textbooks as armor, and pulled a utility knife on a stranger twice her size. If she survives tonight, and I'm going to make sure she does, she's coming with me. The apocalypse needs architects. And honestly, I could use the company. The tsunami hit like God was throwing punches. Boom. First wave. The building shuddered. Cracks appeared in the sealed walls. Dust rained down. Lin Wei was still clinging to me like a koala on a tree branch. Her face buried in my chest, shaking, whispering, "Don't let go. Please don't let go." I didn't. One arm around her waist, one hand braced on the wall, feet locked to the floor. The building screamed around us. Each wave sounded like a mountain hitting concrete. But her room held. Her design held. And my heartbeat, apparently, held too, because somewhere between the third and fourth impact, Lin Wei fell asleep. On me, wrapped around me like a human scarf. This woman survived an earthquake, threatened me with a utility knife, delivered a structural engineering lecture while eating dry biscuit, and then fell asleep in my arms during a tsunami because my heartbeat was steady enough to use as a lullaby. I'm not going to pretend I understand women, but I respect the audacity. Morning came. Not real morning. An ugly, gray-red dawn that looked like the sky was bruised. Lin Wei woke up. Took about 3 seconds to realize she was still wrapped around me like an octopus. Arms around my neck, legs around my waist, face on my chest. Her face went from, just woke up, to absolute scarlet emergency in record time. She scrambled off me, backed into the wall, which was only half a meter away because the room was 2 square meters, and started frantically straightening her lab coat, fixing her hair, doing everything possible to look like a professional adult who definitely did not just sleep clinging to a stranger. Sleep well? I asked casually. MMH, the smallest sound a human can make. I stood up, opened the door, and we walked to the window. The world outside was unrecognizable. Hangzhou was an ocean. Dirty brown water everywhere, stretching to the horizon. Cars, furniture, signs, and bodies floated on the surface. Some corpses were bloated and white. Others were tangled in wreckage at impossible angles. A collapsed skyscraper was still burning in the distance, smoke merging with the bloody sky. Rain hammered down so thick it looked like a curtain. The air smelled like salt, rot, and fire all blended into one stomach-turning cocktail. Somewhere far away, barely audible through the rain, screaming. People still alive, calling for help. Linwei stood at the window, completely still. Yesterday, she was an architect pulling an all-nighter, worrying about a deadline. Today, the entire city was underwater. She looked down at the blueprints she'd been clutching, stared at them for a moment, then kicked them across the floor. Deadline's canceled. The real apocalypse has begun, I said. She turned to me. I could see the question forming before she asked it. What do we do now? I gave her a mission. Go downstairs, search for supplies, convenience stores, cafeterias, break rooms. Anything useful. I'd search the upper floors. She hesitated. You're not coming with me? We split up. Faster that way. I told her the rules. If you see anyone, leave immediately. Don't talk. Don't help. Don't trust. In the apocalypse, people are scarier than zombies. She nodded. Turned to leave. Paused. Thank you, she said without looking back. For the biscuit. And the water. Then she disappeared into the stairwell. I watched her go, then found a nice office chair, set it upright, sat down, put my feet on the desk. Search for supplies? Me? My pocket dimension contained enough food for 100,000 people for 50 years, 200 million cubic meters of fresh water, medicine, generators, computers, and a literal ocean of frozen fish. But I sent her anyway. Not to be cruel. Because she needed to learn. The apocalypse doesn't care about your degree. She had to get used to ruins, corpses, danger, and the worst parts of human nature, because I couldn't babysit her forever. Plus, I needed a minute alone. 15 days of nonstop preparation. Stealing spatial fruits, robbing vaults, buying out every restaurant in Hangzhou, building a war truck, buying a mountain fortress, draining a lake. I hadn't stopped once. Now the tsunami had passed, the rain was falling, and I finally had time to think. Next steps, that grain warehouse. The National Reserve in Shaoshan. The one that built empires in my past life. It was mine now. And the mystery woman in the white crane. The one who froze time itself. Who was she? What power could suppress SSS-rank spatial abilities? And all my old enemies, Ruyan, Lu Chang, Lu Fei, Inoue, still out there somewhere. Assuming the wave didn't get them. I was sitting there planning my next move when suddenly heat. Deep in my bones. Not normal warmth. A volcanic burning erupting from inside. Like something ancient was waking up in my body. Then a spike of pain shot through my brain like a lightning bolt. Something was happening to me. Something big. And the apocalypse was only 12 hours old.